Chapter 1288. After all of the spring water was absorbed by Zhao Fu, a devil dragon's head was revealed at the bottom of the spring. The devil dragon's head was only 5 or 6 meters long and looked quite domineering. It looked like a real dragon's head and seemed to be alive, giving off an intense might. Zhao Fu knew that this was the head of the dragon vein, so he raised the sadistic killing sword and sent large amounts of power into it. The sword gave off an intense blood-red light as a massive aura spread out. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as Zhao Fu slashed out with his full strength, sending out a massive blood-red sword light. The blood-red sword light gave off destructive power as it slashed against the dragon's head, causing it to instantly shatter. The heavens and earth started to change as clouds swirled and thunder boomed. A terrifying aura spread throughout the entire world, as if everything was going to be destroyed. The Devil Horn Empire's most important devil vein had been destroyed, causing terrifying abnormal signs. Sensing this aura, Yao Ming's heart sank and his expression fell as he immediately flew towards the Devil Spirit Fountain. Of course, Zhao Fu understood that people would arrive soon, so he quickly led Mozax and the others away. Otherwise, if the Devil Horn Empire's army arrived, they would not be able to escape unscathed. At the same time, Zhao Fu felt a swelling pain in his body, and he felt as if his body was about to be torn apart. This forced Zhao Fu to deal with it as soon as possible. Otherwise, Zhao Fu felt as if his body was about to explode. He had to hurry back to Qin City and think of a way to deal with it. The abnormal signs caused by the Devil Vein caused the Devil Horn Empire to fall into chaos, and Zhao Fu and the others took advantage of the chaos to escape the Devil Horn Empire. Soon, Yao Ming's expression was icy as he stood next to the Devil Spirit Fountain. Looking at the shattered dragon head, he gave off a chilling intent that could pierce one's bones. Yao Ming was furious to the extreme and wanted to destroy everything. Yao Ming's little brother looked afraid and guilty as he said, "Big bro, I'm afraid I'll be fine. It was that person who snuck into the Devil Horn Empire and used my blood to get here. I'm sorry for causing trouble for you again." The main reason why Zhao Fu had been able to break through the Devil Horn Empire's defenses was because of Yao Ming's little brother. After all, the final bloodline barrier was the most important and had the highest price. Without Yao Ming's little brother's blood, it would have been impossible for Zhao Fu to pass through. Yao Ming had never thought that there would be someone who didn't need his essence blood and instead used his little brother's essence blood. His strongest defense became completely useless. Seeing that Yao Ming ignored him, his little brother felt incredibly guilty and tears welled up in his eyes. "What can I do for you? Don't be mad at me, okay?" Yao Ming had been thinking about whether or not to do such a thing. The Devil Vein was incredibly important to the Devil Horn Empire, and the Devil Horn Empire could not lose it. Otherwise, it would definitely perish at Qin's hands and would not have the strength to resist Qin. Hearing his little brother's words, Yao Ming made his decision and gave a gentle smile as he looked at his little brother and asked softly, "Do you really want to help me?" Seeing that Yao Ming wasn't angry at him and was even smiling, Yao Ming happily nodded. Bang! A muffled explosion sounded out as Yao Ming looked at Yao Ming, who had pushed him to the ground, and asked in confusion, "Big brother?" Yao Ming's appearance had completely changed, and he said savagely, "I didn't want to use this method, but my good little brother, you've caused massive losses to the Devil Horn Empire twice. You're my greatest weakness, and I wanted to kill you last time. However, you're my little brother, so I couldn't bring myself to do it. However, now that the Devil Vein has been destroyed, if this goes on, the Devil Horn Empire will perish sooner or later. For the Devil Horn Empire, I can only kill you." Yao Ming opened his mouth, revealing his pure white teeth that gave off a cold light. He bent down and bit down on his little brother's neck, causing blood to spurt out. Yao Ming's little brother looked incredibly pained as he struggled and begged, "Big brother, don't kill me, it hurts." Yao Ming did not seem to hear this, and he twisted his head and bit down on his little brother's neck, tearing off a large piece of flesh. Large amounts of blood spurted out, covering Yao Ming's face. Yao Ming chewed on the bloody meat in his mouth, causing blood to spurt out. It was extremely juicy and tasty. The meat was chewy and tasted delicious. A large amount of blood flowed out of his neck, and his little brother's aura quickly weakened. However, he still struggled, looking incredibly pained as he begged with tears in his eyes, "Big brother, don't kill me." Yao Ming's heart softened. The person in front of him was his little brother. However, thinking about the destroyed devil vein, Yao Ming made up his mind and pressed his hand against his little brother's forehead, sealing his soul within his head. He then lowered his head and tore off another piece of flesh. "Arg!" Yao Ming continuously cried out and begged Yao Ming, but Yao Ming had already made his decision. He continued to eat his little brother's flesh, looking incredibly savage as he chewed on his bloody face. In the end, his little brother was completely eaten by Yao Ming, leaving behind only his head. Looking at a severed finger, Yao Ming reluctantly picked it up and put it in his mouth. He chewed on the finger, skin, and bones, giving off crunching sounds. "Arg!" Yao Ming roared as a massive blood-red aura spread out, and 2 short horns grew out of his head. Yao Ming's power greatly increased, and his bloodline became even more powerful. Yao Ming used the devil race's secret technique, cannibalism. This secret technique could cause one's bloodline to become even purer, allowing one to obtain even more power. Otherwise, he would not have eaten his little brother. Holding his little brother's head, Yao Ming felt immense pain in his heart, and his hatred towards Zhao Fu became even greater. He then came to the shattered pieces of the devil dragon and placed his little brother's head within it. Boom! Yao Ming pressed his hand against the air, and his little brother's head gave off an intense blood-red light. The shattered pieces of the devil dragon automatically flew towards his little brother's head and fused together, and a blood-red pillar of light containing a terrifying aura shot into the sky. Roar! Traces of blood-red aura rose up from the Devil Horn World's ground and rose into the sky, forming a massive blood-red dragon. The blood-red dragon had a head on its forehead. It was Zhao Fu's little brother's head, and a massive taboo energy covered the surroundings. Sensing this taboo power, Yao Ming could not help but loudly laugh in delight because this devil vein's aura was 5 or 6 times more powerful than before. This was no longer a simple devil dragon vein but a bloodline devil dragon vein, and it contained a terrifying taboo power. In the future, the devil spirit fountain would be blood-red, and anyone who drank the devil spirit fountain's water would obtain this taboo power. The Devil Horn Empire's strength would not fall, and it would instead become even more powerful. Elsewhere, Zhao Fu rushed into the 4-soul devil world and crashed into the devil world's core magic formation. An ocean-like devil chi spread out, and all of the devils instinctively felt terror, not knowing what was happening. Chapter 1289. Not only them, but many other wild beasts that were even more sensitive to danger were all lying on the ground at this moment, whimpering in fear. None of the birds dared to fly into the sky, trembling as they gathered together. At the center of the 4-soul devil world, Zhao Fu's body gave off an intense violet light as violet inscriptions appeared on his body, and all of the devil chi in the surroundings madly gathered towards him. Roar! 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 Dragons' roars shook the heavens as tens of thousands of dragons roared together, giving off a domineering aura. Zhao Fu's chest gave off an intense silver light that pierced through the surrounding 1,000 meters, and the 10,000 dragon seal continuously spun as silver dragons came out of Zhao Fu's body. There were 10,000 silver dragons circling around Zhao Fu, forming a massive silver vortex, and a massive suction force exploded out. The heaven-earth essence chi of the several worlds rapidly gathered, seeming to be corporeal. The wind blew in this direction, and the clouds roiled as a formless aura of danger spread out in everyone's hearts. Everyone looked up at the sky and saw the clouds gathering. They did not know what was going on, but they knew that something big was definitely happening. Roar! As massive amounts of heaven and earth power entered Zhao Fu's body, a majestic dragon's roar shook the entire world, causing all creatures' legs to weaken. The golden dragon pearl on Zhao Fu's chest turned into a 30-centimeter-long golden dragon. It had 3 eyes, 4 horns, and golden crystal-like dragon scales. This was the Clear Sky Saint Dragon, one of the emperors of dragons. Boom! The Clear Sky Saint Dragon continuously swam about in front of Zhao Fu's chest, and a formless aura swept out. The sky of the few worlds seemed to be grabbed by a massive hand, and rays of golden light shot out from the horizon as the Clear Sky Saint Dragon madly gathered clear sky power. Rays of golden light shot down from the sky and gathered in the sky above Great Qin, causing one side of the sky to become golden. More and more golden light gathered, and the light it gave off became more and more intense. The massive might also became more and more powerful. Not only were all the monsters in the 4-soul demon realm pressed to the ground by an invisible hand, but the beasts in other places didn't dare to stay in Qin City. The same was true for the beasts in other worlds. It was as if a catastrophe was coming. The sky was filled with golden light, covering the entire world. The might it gave off caused the surroundings to become incredibly heavy, and the golden light gradually condensed to the extreme. The might also became incredibly great, and space started to twist. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as a golden ray of light descended from the sky, bringing with it immense power as it heavily landed on Zhao Fu's body. A corporeal shockwave spread out, causing the ground to crack. The boundless golden light in the sky flowed into Zhao Fu's body through the golden light, and terrifying ripples spread out from him, making it so that no one dared to get close. That soul-shaking power was enough to make people fall into the abyss. The powerful clear sky dragon power caused Zhao Fu's body to start to turn into a dragon again. Crystalline scales grew on his body, as well as 4 short horns. Boom! Another massive explosion sounded out as a Tai Chi symbol floated out from Zhao Fu's chest and flew into the air, forming a 10,000-meter wide Tai Chi symbol. The golden ray of light passed through the center of the Tai Chi symbol. The Tai Chi symbol gave off massive power as it spun, and a formless energy spread out, causing powerful gales to blow. Sand filled the sky, boulders rolled, and trees swayed. A humanoid crow and a silver rabbit appeared on either side of the Tai Chi symbol. One gave off a searing aura like the sun, while the other gave off a gentle aura like the moon. Boom! Boom! The two of them gave off brilliant light and turned into different colored pillars of light as they shot into the sky, causing the sky to tremble. 2 massive might came down from the sky, causing countless people's bodies to sink and find it difficult to breathe. It was as if there was a massive, formless hand gripping their hearts. A sun giving off intense light and a moon giving off gentle moonlight descended from the golden sky. They each gave off boundless power and gave off world-shaking auras as they entered Zhao Fu's body. Bang! It was as if something within Zhao Fu's body had been broken, and a massive sound rang out as a heaven-toppling aura unrestrainedly swept out like an enraged ocean. A massive gale blew out, causing countless boulders to fly into the sky and countless trees to be uprooted. The ground was peeled off layer by layer, and countless rocks, trees, and sand danced in the sky, looking like a massive natural disaster. Zhao Fu's body absorbed so much power and gave off an intense light, but at the same time, he felt immense pain. Arg! A pitiful cry sounded throughout the sky, and a sudden power seemed to instantly lock down 10 or so worlds. The wind stopped blowing and the clouds stopped moving. Everyone's bodies froze, and it was as if everything had been frozen. The expressions of the countless kings fell. They had never felt such boundless power before. In front of this power, they were unable to resist at all. Yao Ming's face was also pale, and he was unable to resist this power at all. Just what was going on? No one understood what was going on. However, some people remembered that they had experienced something similar before, which was the power that the celestial Emperor Star gave off. However, this terrifying power was many times more terrifying than the celestial Emperor star, and it spread to 10 or so worlds. This was because before, the heavenly domain boundary had blocked off the celestial Emperor star's power. However, now that Qin had revealed it to everyone, without the heavenly domain boundary blocking it, the ripples were naturally even more terrifying. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as if the heavens and earth were being torn apart. Boundless violet light blasted down, covering the 10 or so worlds. This caused the ground in the 10 or so worlds to sink, and countless people collapsed to the ground, revealing expressions of shock. An unimaginably devilish intent spread out from the sky, causing everything in the heavens and earth to become devilish. Everyone felt a chilling intent flow out, and their bodies and souls trembled. A star that looked like a violet sun and seemed to have a dragon within it, giving off an incredibly terrifying might as it slowly descended from the sky. The terrifying power caused space to gradually twist, unable to withstand its descent. The 10 or so worlds' space twisted and collapsed as countless cracks and black holes appeared. Primal chaos aura flowed into them, and the entire world wailed as if it was about to be destroyed. At that moment, some of the powerful people in the ancient STEM domain's expressions fell as they looked at the violet star in the distance and sensed the boundless devilish chi it gave off. Chapter 1290. That person was dumbfounded and looked incredibly shocked for a few seconds before hurriedly leaving the boundless heaven's secrets, wanting to report this matter to the higher-ups. This matter was simply too shocking, and it was simply unimaginable that that person had a fourth Emperor star, and it was the Devil race's supreme Emperor star. Violet Sky Dragon star. However, just as that person left, he found that he was surrounded by countless people, including the Fate Sovereign, who had the highest status in the Heaven's Secrets Pavilion. The instant that the Violet Sky Dragon star had descended, they had all sensed it, so they had all gathered at the Heaven's Secrets Pavilion. As the Devil race's supreme Emperor star, the ripples from it were not any weaker than the Celestial Emperor star or Nether Emperor star. Fate Sovereign. That person wanted to say something, but the woman in white cut him off and indicated that she understood. This was because the woman in white had also sensed Zhao Fu's aura from this Violet Sky Dragon star, which was why she had immediately hurried over. At this moment, her face was filled with shock. What kind of existence was that person? Even she could not see through Zhao Fu's identity. After all, Zhao Fu now had 4 Emperor stars, and each of them had immense power. They were proof of his fate and potential in the future. However, it was fine that he had the Chaos Imperial Star, as the Chaos Imperial Star did not belong to any race. It was the most terrifying inauspicious star, and no one could understand how he could have other Emperor stars. Before, he had awakened the Celestial Emperor star, proving that he was from the human race and had a pure human race Emperor bloodline. After all, only someone with a pure human race Emperor bloodline could awaken a Celestial Emperor star. However, he had also awakened the Nether Emperor star. No one had expected that the Emperor star, which required the Death race's Emperor bloodline and massive amounts of the Death race's fate, would also appear on him. Does that mean he has the pure Emperor bloodline of 2 races? This guess was quite believable, as it was quite easy to realize. As long as 2 people with different pure Emperor bloodlines got married, it would be possible for their children to have pure Emperor bloodlines from both races. However, because the 2 races' bloodlines and fate were mixed together, even though they were quite powerful, it was almost impossible to awaken their race's supreme Emperor star. They guessed that perhaps that person was someone with the mandate of heaven and had massive amounts of fate, which was why he had 2 races' Emperor stars and the Chaos Imperial star. However, this was still possible. He had awakened his 4th Emperor star, and it was the Devil race's supreme Emperor star. Only those with pure Emperor bloodlines from the Devil race could awaken it, but that person had. This was the most shocking thing, because there was no possibility of such a thing happening. The white-clothed young woman's consciousness entered the boundless heaven's secrets and looked at the violet star within the ocean of deathly aura, causing much of the deathly aura within the ocean of deathly aura to dissipate. The other 3 emperor stars started to give off bright starlight. By now, the white-clothed young woman was certain that someone who had 3 such terrifying stars would not easily lose them. Now that a 4th star had appeared, it would be enough for him to resist the Emperor Killer Curse's corrosion. These 4 Emperor stars were incredibly important, and even with her experience, she had never seen them before. Who knew what kind of terrifying monsters they would give birth to? The matter of these 4 Emperor stars was incredibly important, and she had never seen them before. Who knew what kind of terrifying monster they would give birth to? The woman in Emperor Domain felt that she could not deal with this, so she planned to report this to those true old monsters. Only they could deal with this. However, before the woman in Emperor Domain could report this, the higher-ups ordered, "Don't interfere, just continue to observe." Within the palace, a black-clothed young man sitting cross-legged on the ground trembled and coughed up a mouthful of blood. His face was filled with disbelief as he started to suffer the backlash of the Emperor Killer Curse. Within a palace, a black-clothed young man sitting cross-legged on the ground trembled and coughed up a mouthful of blood. He looked in disbelief as he started to suffer a backlash from the Emperor Killer Curse. Just what had that person done? The higher being felt furious and turned into a ray of light as he came to the stage where Emperor Killer had been cast. The higher being performed hand seals, and the corpses on the stone stage gave off waves of deathly aura that rose into the sky. The higher being cast a powerful secret technique, wanting to increase the power of the Emperor Killer Curse. Within the boundless heaven's secrets, the massive ocean of deathly aura gave off a deathly intent that seemed to be able to sweep away everything as it ferociously rushed towards the 4 Emperor stars, wanting to once again inundate them. Boom, 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 boom. 4 massive explosions sounded out as the 4 Emperor stars gave off boundless starlight, causing the boundless heaven's secrets to tremble. A heaven-toppling aura spread out, shaking the boundless void. The deathly aura dissipated under the starlight, and the higher being stumbled and almost fell to the ground as he coughed up another large mouthful of blood. He found that Zhao Fu now had a massive amount of fate, and if he continued to use the Emperor Killer Curse, the backlash would be even greater. The Heaven Spirit Financial Group's person in charge of observing the Emperor Bloodline saw the Emperor Bloodline give off boundless violet light and a massive devilish intent spread out, causing his body to tremble. Even though he felt terror, he was incredibly delighted and ran off to report. A while later, the various major figures looked at the orb of blood giving off intense violet light and devilish intent in the air in shock. That person had awakened another Emperor Star, and it was a Devil Race Emperor Star. Just who was this person? Could he be the reincarnation of a Celestial? Otherwise, they could not think of anyone with such power. Now, they were so shocked that their jaws almost fell to the ground. At the same time, they could not help but feel delighted. Back then, they had made the right decision. Even though many higher beings wanted to kill that person, the Heaven Spirit Financial Group had resisted the pressure and helped him. It had all been worth it. Just thinking about having 4 Emperor Stars could cause anyone to feel fear. This was the number 1 person in history, and he definitely had the qualifications to become a Celestial. The Heaven Spirit Financial Group's various major figures started to discuss whether they should give Zhao Fu more benefits, such as giving him various items to improve their relationship. However, they were afraid that this would hinder his growth and cause the Heaven Spirit Steel to suffer a backlash from Heaven's secrets. A person like this definitely had massive Heaven's secrets, or else he would not have 4 Emperor Stars. He was definitely a son of heaven and someone who the heaven-awakened world had taken a liking to. Boom! Suddenly, the orb of blood floating in the air started to burn, turning into an orb of black flames. An aura that surpassed that of an emperor and transcended the mundane, as if it was a celestial's might descended, causing the major figures' bodies to weaken. Everyone looked incredibly shocked as they looked at the little orb of black flames. One person's eyes widened as he pointed at the black flames with a trembling finger and said, "This is divine bloodline." Chapter 1291. In the Heaven-Awakened world's long history, holy empires had appeared a few times, and every time they appeared, it was when the Heaven-Awakened world faced major changes. Whenever they acted, empires would fall and the world would be shaken. Whether it was the Absolute Beginning's disaster, the Origin Race's secret, the immemorial celestial slaying war, the Killing Sword disaster, the Mutation disaster, the disaster of empires, the medieval world's invasion, every major event had their hands on them, and they were existences that reigned above all beings in the Heaven-Awakened world. It was difficult for anyone to know about them, and they normally did not appear in the Heaven-Awakened world. They were incredibly secretive, and very few people knew about them. However, the bloodline in front of them had surpassed imperial bloodline and had reached divine bloodline. What's more, it was an early-stage divine bloodline, which was why they were so shocked. It could be said that this person's bloodline was already above theirs. In front of him, their bloodlines would automatically feel fear. If they didn't have the support of a powerful cultivation base, they would most likely collapse to the ground when they saw this person. This was the advantage of bloodlines. Everyone was so shocked that their bodies trembled. They looked at each other and decided to keep this matter a top secret and not let anyone else know about it. The 10,000 Dragon Financial Group's president looked at the resplendent violet star in the sky and could not help but loudly laugh. "I never thought it would happen so quickly. That emperor has exceeded our expectations. Now that the prophecy has come true, we can return to the devil domain." The other higher-ups of the 10,000 Dragon Financial Group also smiled. They had waited here for thousands of years, and now that it had finally come to an end, they all let out sighs of relief. Sensing the violet sky dragon star's descent, the entire dragon race felt a pressure from their bloodline. However, they could not help but excitedly roar as if they were welcoming their emperor. The other people in the devil race also sensed the violet sky dragon star's descent and looked incredibly excited. This was their devil race's supreme emperor star, and that person was definitely a genius of their devil race. For the devil race to have such a genius, it was a blessing for the entire devil race. Every race had their own supreme emperor star, and it was incredibly difficult for a supreme emperor star to descend. Anyone with a supreme emperor star would definitely become the sovereign of their race in the future, so every race treated the supreme emperor star with great importance. Back when Zhao Fu's celestial emperor star had descended, the human race had more supreme emperor stars than the demon race, devil race, and god race, causing many higher beings to feel quite displeased. Now they had to hunt down Zhao Fu. From this, it could be seen how much importance everyone placed on the Supreme Emperor stars. They did not know that Zhao Fu already had 3 races Emperor stars and that his bloodline had reached the saint grade. Even higher beings would be incredibly shocked, and if ordinary people heard about this, they would most likely go crazy. However, the descent of the purple sky dragon star caused all of the dragon clan to fall into a state of ecstasy, causing the other demon clans to be dissatisfied. For example, the other large demon clan, the Phoenix clan. Among the monster clan, the dragon clan and the Phoenix clan were the strongest and had the largest population. They were widely distributed and belonged to the 2 largest clans in the monster clan. Usually, there were many conflicts among the monster clan. They were naturally the most dissatisfied with the appearance of the purple sky dragon star, because it would be of great help to the dragon race. Perhaps the dragon race would be able to suppress the phoenix race and become the most powerful race within the devil race. The phoenix race also had a related emperor star, but they could not become the supreme emperor star of the devil race. After all, they were weaker in terms of fate, as dragons represented kings and phoenixes represented concubines. As such, their Emperor Star could not become the supreme Emperor Star of the Devil race. The Phoenix race naturally gave the order to find the person who possessed the purple sky dragon star and to get rid of that person to prevent future troubles. At the same time, within a luxurious and domineering dragon palace, 8 people giving off massive dragons might sat on 8 dragon thrones. There were men and women, and they all looked different. However, there was one thing in common, which was that they were all real dragons and belonged to the dragon race. Most importantly, their cultivations were all higher being cultivations, and with the 8 of them gathered together, the space around them became incredibly heavy. At that moment, a dignified-looking middle-aged man said, "Old Ninth's legatee has appeared, and he has used the purple sky dragon star to descend in such a domineering manner. This is a vicious slap in our faces. Are you all willing to abide by the agreement from back then?" An ugly-looking young man coldly laughed. "Old Ninth has been dead for so long, so that agreement is naturally invalid. Also, that person with the purple sky dragon star might be a bit special. He's not from the dragon race and has the bloodline of other devil races mixed in. It's best to get rid of that person as soon as possible." A mild-mannered and chubby elder thought about it with a dark expression and said, "The agreement from back then can be invalidated, but that person is someone from the devil race and has the supreme Emperor Star of the devil race. He has great fate, so there's no need to kill him. Perhaps he really can become the ruler of the dragon race. This sovereign is not interested in your matters. According to the agreement, if he returns to the devil domain and sits on one of the 10,000 dragon thrones, he will naturally become the ruler of the dragon race. This sovereign also has matters to attend to, so I'll be leaving first," a cold-looking woman interrupted before disappearing. In the end, the remaining people chatted for a while and ended the conversation unhappily. Then, they left one after another. "Senior brother, what's wrong?" a handsome youth in dragon robes asked curiously as he looked at the young man who had stopped and looked at the horizon. It was a young man wearing a violet dragon robe. He looked quite mighty and gave off a massive might. He was called Heaven Godlong, and he was also a member of the dragon race. He was one of the owners of the Violet Sky Dragon Star, and he was publicly acknowledged as a peerless genius in the devil race. At this moment, he stared at the horizon solemnly. "I feel that a great enemy has appeared." The youth beside him lightly laughed in disbelief. "Senior apprentice brother? With your strength, you can rank first or second in the entire demon race. Who can defeat you?" Long Shention did not reply to the young man. Instead, his expression became even more serious as he looked towards the horizon. He could feel the immense danger coming from the horizon, causing his hairs to stand on end. Even the Violet Sky Dragon Star felt slightly uneasy. This was the first time he had felt like this. Because they were both from the Violet Sky Dragon Star, he could clearly sense this person. At the same time, he understood how terrifying this person was and that he was definitely an extremely dangerous person. With Long Shintian's strength and status, if he said this, many people would be shocked. After all, there were not many people in the Heaven Awakened world who could do such a thing. Chapter 1292. The first was the devil's power that he had absorbed. Before, Zhao Fu had instinctively gone to the four-soul devil world because he desperately needed devil qi, and that was where Qin had the most devil qi. Following this was the 10,000 dragon seals' 10,000 dragon power, which was also abnormally powerful. There was also the clear sky saint dragon's clear sky power, as well as the Sun Devil and Moon Devil's Sun and Moon power. This was the power of a dragon and a demon fusing together. This kind of power was extremely top-notch, because whether it was 10,000 dragon power, vast sky power, or sun and moon power, they were all extremely terrifying powers. Even though they could not compare to the 6 paths of reincarnation power, they could still be considered an ultimate power. After obtaining this dragon devil power, Zhao Fu's body became even more powerful, and even top-quality weapons would not be able to cut through Zhao Fu's skin. With the power of his body, he could casually shatter boulders, and he could be called a humanoid devil beast. After fusing all of his powers, Zhao Fu slowly opened his eyes, and a violet light shot out as another pair of pupils appeared in Zhao Fu's eyes. This pair of pupils were purple and looked like the pupils of a dragon. They carried with them the aura of a dragon. Under this pair of pupils, normal demonic beasts wouldn't dare to resist at all. They could only kneel on the ground in fear and submit. Now, Zhao Fu's left eye had 7 pupils, and his right eye had 6 pupils stacked together, surrounded by 6 gray dots. His eyes were even more terrifying than before, and they now contained a trace of devilish intent and might. As for the rest of Zhao Fu's body, it was still the same as before, but there were traces of violet in his jet-black hair. His aura was even more powerful than before, and it gave off a trace of devilish qi. What delighted Zhao Fu the most was that he had finally leveled up to a divine bloodline, and he reigned above the tens of thousands of emperors. Now, Zhao Fu was no longer an emperor but a holy son. With the Violet Dragon Emperor Star's immense power, the various bloodlines that Zhao Fu had fused with, such as the Darkness Royal Bloodline, the Fairy Emperor Bloodline, the Clear Sky Dragon Bloodline, and others, had all been perfectly fused together, causing Zhao Fu to have a divine bloodline. It was most likely only with the help of a Supreme Emperor Star that his bloodline could fuse so perfectly and provide even more power. Otherwise, Zhao Fu would not have been able to raise his bloodline to a divine bloodline. At this moment, even Zhao Fu wasn't sure what race he belonged to, because he possessed the purest, most terrifying, and most valiant bloodline of the 3 major races: humans, ghosts, and demons. Also, the 10,000 dragon mark and sun-moon devil mark on Zhao Fu's chest had completely disappeared because they had fused with Zhao Fu. Could be said that Zhao Fu was a true dragon, but it could also be said that Zhao Fu was a devil. The violet sky dragon star in the sky also gradually disappeared. Only then did everyone recover from the overwhelming pressure. It's finally over. Seeing that the sky and surroundings had returned to normal, countless people let out sighs of relief. The descent of the violet sky dragon star was simply too terrifying. Countless people hurriedly tried to find out what had happened. Just what was that violet star? What had caused it to happen? It was not just the people in the surrounding worlds who started to investigate. Even the ancient STEM domain and the surrounding domains sent people to investigate. After all, the appearance of such a terrifying star, and the ripples from it could be sensed by thousands of worlds, was evidently a shocking matter. Congratulations, Your Majesty! The hundreds of millions of devils in the 4-soul devil world regained their freedom, and the devils hurried over. Sensing the terrifying might from Zhao Fu's body, as well as the terror from their bloodlines, they knelt on the ground and cried out in delight. The countless devils also knelt on the ground and obediently lowered their heads, looking like billions of devils were submitting to them. Zhao Fu stood at the center like a devil emperor, and this scene was incredibly shocking. Following this, the other ministers also hurried over, feeling quite happy that Zhao Fu had awakened his 4th Emperor Star. After all, Zhao Fu was their king, and the more powerful Zhao Fu was, the more beneficial it would be for them. Zhao Fu smiled and nodded, and he returned to Qin Qin's palace. He started to examine his body, and there were other pleasant surprises. The first was that Zhao Fu's lifespan had increased by 1,000 years. Now, even if Zhao Fu did not do anything, he would be able to live for 3,000 years. Moreover, the Emperor Killer's power had been reduced by another 30%, and it only had 60% left. It was not too far away from the day when Zhao Fu would be able to completely remove it. At the same time, Zhao Fu received a lot of information, causing Zhao Fu to frown. The first was about the Devil Horn Empire's Devil Vein. He had clearly destroyed the Devil Horn Empire's Devil Vein, but in the end, he had still helped the Devil Horn Empire and obtained a Bloodkin Devil Vein. This was completely out of Zhao Fu's expectations. He had paid such a great price and taken such a great risk, but he had still helped his enemies. It could be said that his plan had failed. However, this awakening of the violet sky dragon star was mainly because he had devoured countless devil spirit fountain water. Without the pure devil chi from the devil spirit fountain water, who knew when Zhao Fu would have been able to awaken the violet sky dragon star? This was his greatest gain. Moreover, countless regions had sent people to investigate, so Zhao Fu had to properly deal with this. If it was just the surrounding worlds, Zhao Fu would not have been afraid. However, the surrounding domains had sent people, especially the ancient stem domain, which he had enmity with. Once they discovered Zhao Fu's identity, Qin would face a catastrophe, so Zhao Fu had to deal with this carefully. Zhao Fu first ordered Qin's factions to stop all external activities and to keep a low profile and not be too ostentatious. They had to avoid the limelight for now. On the other hand, Zhao Fu wanted to peacefully develop for a while. He wanted all of Qin's soldiers to use darkness equipment and fuse with darkness crystals. When that time came, Qin would truly become a darkness core. Although Zhao Fu wanted to keep a low profile, others would not allow him to. After all, the ripples from the violet sky dragon star had spread out from Qin, and countless scouts were gathering towards Qin, wanting to infiltrate Qin and see what was going on. This caused Qin to be on high alert. Apart from this, many factions came to visit. These were all royal kingdom factions, and they were quite arrogant and looked down on Qin. Qin only had the strength of 2 worlds, and their royal kingdom factions had the ability to look down on Qin. With so many royal kingdom factions, it was impossible for Qin to gather all of them, as that would offend all of them. With Qin's current strength, he did not have the ability to offend a few domains' royal kingdoms. As such, facing these people's arrogance, Qin could only endure it and carefully deal with them. Qin once again entered the eyes of many royal kingdoms. After obtaining all of the information about Qin, he went from being a nobody to someone whose name shook dozens of worlds. With the power of a new world, he had resisted the attacks of a few worlds. Chapter 1293. In fact, many kingdoms expressed their willingness to support the Qin Empire and make the Qin Empire a true kingdom. After all, the Qin Empire had the potential to become a kingdom, and if the Qin Empire became a kingdom, it would be a powerful ally for them. However, Zhao Fu still refused because they would not support the Qin Empire for free. They would also have to sign all sorts of unfair contracts that would restrict Qin Empire's actions. If they had any requests, Qin Empire would not be able to refuse. Even though they would be of great help to Qin Empire, how could Zhao Fu agree to their requests? This caused some kingdoms to feel quite dissatisfied. With their strength and foundation, they were willing to help Qin Empire because they thought highly of Qin Empire. However, Qin Empire refused to give them face, and they wanted Zhao Fu to come out and apologize. Now there were a few people standing in the hall, giving off powerful auras. They raised their heads high and looked incredibly arrogant. In their eyes, the Qin Empire was quite powerful, but it could be easily destroyed by their kingdoms. As such, they did not place Qin Empire in their eyes at all. At the same time, they thought that the emperor of the Qin Empire was only a saint realm cultivator. "Where's your king? Hurry up and come out. You don't have the right to talk to me. Do you know that I'm the Jade Six Kingdoms emissary?" A big man shouted in the hall. Bang! A formless energy sent the big man with heaven realm cultivation flying. There was no need to endure this kind of person anymore because the more you endured, the more he would go overboard. Zhao Fu walked out with a cold expression. He wore a mask and covered his face. The big man was sent flying back and coughed up a large mouthful of blood. He looked furious as he roared, "You dare to attack me? I'm the Jade Six Kingdoms emissary, and the Jade Six Kingdom will soon bathe the Qin Empire in blood." Zhao Fu coldly harumphed as he said, "Even though our Qin Empire only has 2 worlds, It's not something that can be easily bullied. Also, can you really represent the Jade Six Kingdom? Even if the Jade Six Kingdom wants to destroy the Qin Empire, it will have to pay a price. Do you think you're worth that price? The pressure of a holy sun spread out, causing everyone's bodies to stiffen. Beads of cold sweat appeared on their bodies, and they began to feel nervous. This caused many envoys to be much more well-behaved. If they caused a great war and lost billions of people, they wouldn't be able to bear the consequences. This included the few who had threatened to search the Qin Empire to find out why such a terrifying star had appeared. If you want to cooperate with the Qin Empire, you must do it in a fair way. The Qin Empire will not accept unfair conditions from any force. As for the purple star, the Qin Empire does not know. If you are here for this matter, please leave. When the envoys heard Zhao Fu's words, they were a little displeased. However, they still endured it. Seeing how tough Qin Empire's attitude was, they couldn't use force to obtain information. Just the aura that this king emitted was enough to kill everyone present. It was shocking that the Qin Empire's king was so powerful. Some people angrily left and planned to report this matter to the higher-up. It would be best if they sent some experts to teach this arrogant Qin Empire a lesson. Some people stayed behind, and a white-robed elder gave a slight smile and bowed as he said, "This old man comes from the Tao cultivation sect. I greet your majesty." Hearing that he was from the Tao cultivation sect, Zhao Fu's expression became even colder. It was not just because of Bai Shringjun but also because of the ancient stem banquet. However, Zhao Fu still nodded and nodded. The elder continued to speak courteously. "This old man has come under the sect master's orders to gather information on the purple star. Please help me, your majesty. This old man will be eternally grateful." How could Zhao Fu tell him? He coldly replied, "Our words are still the same. We do not know anything about the purple star." The other envoys slightly frowned. As a new world, they had already given enough face. However, Zhao Fu was not moved by force or persuasion, and he did not place them in his eyes at all. The elder looked quite awkward and felt that he would not be able to obtain anything useful. As such, he could only take his leave and say courteously, "If you have time in the future, please come to the Tao cultivation sect as a guest. The Tao cultivation sect welcomes your majesty." The Tao cultivation sect's sect master had obtained information on Qin and was sure that Qin's emperor was not simple at all. As such, he had asked the elder to be more courteous, or else he would not have acted like this. The others also felt that they would not be able to obtain any information, so they could only secretly investigate and report this matter to their superiors. They also told them about the Qin Empire's emperor, saying that he was a very arrogant, cold, and powerful king. They did not know that Zhao Fu was the mysterious emperor who had shaken 10 or so domains in the cosmos historical remnant. Right now, everyone only treated him as a not-so-powerful king. This matter not only caused the Qin Empire to enter the eyes of a few domain royal kingdoms, but it also caused the Devil Horn Empire to enter their eyes. Seeing how domineering it was across 4 worlds, they felt that it had great potential to become a royal kingdom, so they paid a visit to the Devil Horn Empire. Yao Ming's expression had been quite unsightly after seeing the violet star appear in Qin. He clearly understood how terrifying that Emperor's star was, causing his mood to plummet. However, now that so many royal kingdoms had come to pay a visit and were willing to support him, Yao Ming felt incredibly delighted. With the royal kingdom's help, not only would the Devil Horn Empire quickly become a royal kingdom, but it would also be easy to destroy Qin and get rid of this hidden threat. Now, the Devil Horn Empire wanted to eat Zhao Fu like how it had eaten its little brother. Killing Zhao Fu had become Yao Ming's greatest wish. Days passed, and gradually, the matter with the Violet Emperor's star calmed down. Qin's development was incredibly peaceful, and there seemed to be no movement at all. On the other hand, the Devil Horn Empire became quite lively. It invited various factions to come and made some agreements with a few royal kingdoms, obtaining some support from them. It also started to trade goods and resources, causing the surrounding 5 or 6 worlds' economies to develop. Because of the massive benefits they could obtain, the surrounding world's attitudes towards the Devil Horn Empire changed. Before, they had been quite wary of the Devil Horn Empire, as the Devil Horn Empire already had 9 continents and was a great threat. Because of this, Yao Ming had paid a great price, paying a large number of resources and gold coins. In order to befriend the princes of a few royal kingdoms, he had thought of many methods. In fact, one time, a lecherous prince had taken a fancy to a few of his concubines, and Yao Ming had not hesitated to send them over. A few unimportant concubines in exchange for a prince's goodwill was worth it. The prince happily promised to convince his kingdom to give the Devil Horn Empire the greatest help. Chapter 1294. Seeing his concubines being done by someone else in front of him, Yao Ming felt quite displeased, but he endured it. As long as the Devil Horn Empire could level up to a royal kingdom and become powerful, it would be enough. If he was powerful enough, he could even attack that prince's kingdom and capture his sisters and family and do them in front of him. That would be quite satisfying. Yao Ming's concubines moaned under the prince's body, and seeing such an erotic scene, Yao Ming wanted to call over a few concubines. Yao Ming had many concubines, and even though he was not as perverted as Zhao Fu, he still had many beauties. However, the prince called out, telling Yao Ming to go and play with them. Yao Ming did not hesitate and took off his clothes and joined in, and he called over a few more beautiful concubines. After a chaotic storm, the relationship between Yao Ming and the prince improved greatly. They lay on the chair like brothers, and there were even a few concubines serving them. Soon, another half a year passed, and the Qin Empire welcomed its 8th year. After Qin's development, Qin's strength had greatly increased. First, there were 270,000 cities, 50,000 towns, more than 4 million villages, and a population of 210 billion. It now had 16 billion soldiers, 1 billion of whom did not have Stage 1 cultivation and 13 billion of whom had Stage 1 cultivation. There were 2 billion Stage 2 soldiers, 70 million Stage 3 soldiers, and 2 million Stage 4 soldiers. It now had 1 billion ghost soldiers, 2 billion devils, 240,000 beasts, 2 million giant beasts, and 2 million fallen angels. Qin now had 21,000 wyverns, and 18,000 wyverns could participate in battle. There were also 110,000 corpse soul soldiers and 25,000 corpse soul commanders. Next were the illusion flower devils, which numbered 50 million, 6 million or so spiders, and 6 million or so giant wolves. Because the production stats had disappeared, Qin's strategy had changed. The ratio of soldiers to population had decreased, as they had to ensure that Qin had enough people to produce. This was mainly because of food, which was the most important thing, and they could not allow anything to go wrong. Another reason why Qin had so many Stage 1 soldiers was because of the Blood God Pill, the Darkness Crystal, and the Black Blood Pill, which could instantly turn a Stage 5 cultivator into a Stage 1 soldier. The Black Blood Pill was refined with the blood of darkness beasts. Most of those darkness beasts were wild beasts that had been invaded by darkness. Because Qin had built a dark magic formation in the abyss, some creatures had been eroded, so there were many of them. The main effect of the Black Blood Pill was to stimulate a large amount of darkness energy and obtain a weak trace of darkness bloodline. When used with darkness crystals, it had a very powerful effect. This was the reason why he had so many Stage 2 soldiers. Not only did he use Stage 2 Blood God Pills, but he also used darkness crystals and black blood pills. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for Qin to have 2 billion Stage 2 soldiers so quickly. A single Stage 2 soldier was equivalent to 7 or 8 Stage 1 soldiers, so 2 billion Stage 2 soldiers were equivalent to 14 billion soldiers. No one would have thought that with them, Zhao Fu would have the ability to resist the royal kingdom. It was a pity that the higher one's cultivation was, the more difficult it was to raise it. In comparison, there were not many Stage 3 and Royal Kingdom soldiers. Now, Qin's soldiers had become true darkness soldiers. Not only did they all wear black armor and black weapons, but they also gave off a black aura and darkness power. Adding on their black hair, black eyes, and cold and resolute faces, anyone who looked at them would feel a deep sense of fear. Currently, Qin's soldiers did not look like human soldiers at all. They looked like demon race soldiers that could destroy everything, and they gave off a pure aura of darkness. Zhao Fu was quite satisfied with this, so he had spent so much time in order to achieve this effect. Now that he had such strength, Qin now had the power to continue expanding. However, Qin's greatest enemy was still the Devil Horn Empire. With the help of a few royal kingdoms, the Devil Horn Empire had developed very quickly, putting a lot of pressure on Qin. Of course, now that the Devil Horn Empire had the support of a few royal kingdoms, the threat it posed was much greater than that of Qin. Now, the various factions were leaning towards Qin and resisting the Devil Horn Empire together. Zhao Fu did not deal with these matters for the time being. Instead, he went to Spider Palace because he had something important to take care of. It had been a while since Zhang Xian had been here, and he noticed that the number of people had increased significantly. There were 1,000 spider maids with short black hair, black eyes, and a dozen or so spider maids with short silver hair, silver eyes, and hot bodies. It seemed that Elise was very eager to complete the task he had given her. Zhao Fu smiled and walked towards Elise. "Your Majesty, 1,000 spider crystals, as well as the one I condensed, are you ready to give me my reward?" Elise threw herself into Zhao Fu's embrace and hugged Zhao Fu with a charming smile. Zhao Fu smiled as he hugged her and walked into the Spider Palace. The other spider maids also giggled and flowed into the Spider Palace. However, nothing happened. Zhao Fu sat on Elise's bed and examined the fingernail-sized crystals. These crystals were of 3 colors. One was black, and there were over 1,000 of them. One was silver, and there were 10 or so of them. And one was red, and there was only a single one. They all gave off a mysterious aura, and the black ones were the weakest while the red ones were the strongest. Elise had already taken off her clothes, and she hugged Zhao Fu from behind as she said coquettishly, "Your Majesty, you haven't even rewarded me yet. You haven't rewarded me yet. You can worry about those spider crystals later." The other spider maids flirtatiously came over, and a few of them with short silver hair squatted down and started to serve Zhao Fu. However, Zhao Fu cut them off and said, "Let's talk about this later. I've been waiting for this for 6 or 7 years, and I can't wait any longer." These spider crystals had taken the spider maids and Elise a lot of time and effort to condense, and they were mainly used to unlock premonition. Premonition was the 5th sense of the 5 celestial senses, and what Zhao Fu was doing was unlocking the 5 celestial senses. Zhao Fu had first unlocked vision, which greatly boosted his vision and greatly boosted his eye technique. Divine sense was the manifestation of a powerful soul, and it gave him great immunity to all mental attacks. Perception gave him a powerful sense of his surroundings, and it could increase his comprehension of his domain. Heaven's sense was how compatible one's body was with the heavens and earth, and it made it easier for one to comprehend the Tao of the heavens and earth. Finally, premonition could predict what would happen in the future. Spiders had an innate 6th sense, and this 6th sense was premonition. The spider crystals they condensed could unlock premonition, and after such a long time, Zhao Fu had finally unlocked the 5 celestial senses. Chapter 1295. A formless energy covered the energy stones and refined them into liquid. Zhao Fu opened his mouth and sucked in all of the liquid before starting to refine it. After the liquid entered Zhao Fu's stomach, it turned into a formless energy that spread throughout his body. Zhao Fu's body quickly absorbed that energy and gradually gave off a profound aura. Boom! An explosion sounded out in Zhao Fu's mind as that mysterious energy flowed into his mind, causing Zhao Fu's soul to tremble. He quickly devoured that energy, and a formless energy spread out as Zhao Fu once again slowly opened his eyes. The 5 celestial senses, premonition, had finally been unlocked. Right now, Zhao Fu did not have the power to foresee the future. That power could be used to pry into heaven's secrets, and he would receive a backlash from heaven's secrets. However, Zhao Fu could foresee danger, but only a few minutes in advance and not a few days in advance. Now, the most important thing was that, after obtaining the 5 celestial senses, he would be able to unlock the celestial mode. It was said that the celestial mode not only had the power to move mountains, fill seas, and change the heavens and earth, but it also had the ability to fuse with the heavens and temporarily become a celestial. The celestial race was a race born from the heavens, and they had powerful world power. At the same time, they were one of the top-tier races within the spirit race, and were quite rare. It was unknown if there were still any celestial beings left. After all, the spirit race was already quite small, and as the top-tier race within the spirit race, they were even rarer. It had been a long time since a celestial being had appeared in this world. Now, Zhao Fu fused his 5 senses and entered the celestial mode. Zhao Fu's eyes gave off an intense silver light that spread out like 2 silver eyes of light. Next was godly sense. Zhao Fu's soul gave off an intense white light that passed through his body, and it was as if Zhao Fu's head was giving off countless rays of white light. Next was heaven's sense. Zhao Fu's body gave off an intense yellow light that shined in all directions. Next was perception. The space around him gave off an intense golden light, forming a golden energy barrier that covered Zhao Fu. In the end, it was a premonition. Countless rays of black light shot out from between Zhao Fu's eyebrows, piercing through the space of 100 meters. At that moment, Zhao Fu's body was shining with 5 different lights. His body was also filled with 5 different powers. What Zhao Fu wanted to do was to fuse the 5 powers together. Zhao Fu started to fuse the 5 types of powers. He extracted the 5 types of powers and gathered them at his chest. Because they all belonged to the 5 heavenly senses, it was quite easy to fuse them together. The 5 energies formed a lychee-sized 5-colored ball of light in Zhao Fu's chest. However, at this moment, something unexpected happened. When Zhao Fu ate the immortal peach, the strand of 7-colored aura in his body automatically flew into the 5-colored ball of light. Boom! Zhao Fu felt the heavens and earth and his mind tremble, and his mind went blank. His senses seemed to disappear. He could not see, hear, or smell anything, and he could not feel anything at all. The heavens and earth started to change as wild gales started to blow and clouds roiled. The world's power quickly gathered, and the ocean-like power flowed into Zhao Fu's body and gathered at the 7-colored ball of light in his chest. In that moment, the ball of light slightly trembled before condensing into a 7-colored pearl, and an even greater amount of power was absorbed. Boom! The 7-colored pearl reached its saturation point and exploded out with an extremely powerful power, sending out a terrifying shockwave that caused the ground to crack. Fortunately, the spider attendants in the surroundings had all retreated far away, or else even if they did not die, they would be heavily injured. Zhao Fu gave off a faint rainbow-colored light as a coin-sized rainbow-colored magic formation appeared on his forehead. A circle made of rainbow-colored runes appeared around him, and it was about 2 meters wide. Zhao Fu sat at the center of the rainbow circle. When he opened his eyes, Zhao Fu's eyes gave off a rainbow-colored light, and his body gave off an unfathomable and illusory feeling. It was as if he was there, but at the same time, he was not. It was as if he was engraved in the heavens and earth, just like a legendary celestial. Zhao Fu did not know what mode this was. Was it celestial mode? Or could he enter celestial mode? Zhao Fu could not be sure, but what he knew was that Zhao Fu had grasped an ultimate power. In this state, Zhao Fu's eyes could see through space, as well as all sorts of formless powers and elemental essences. His body could sense everything within 10,000 meters, and he could even sense a grain of sand. At the same time, Zhao Fu could also foresee everything that would happen in the next minute, provided that there were no disturbances or disruptions. Even though it was only for a minute, it was incredibly clear, and he knew everything. Before, he could only vaguely sense danger. Even though 1 minute was not much, it was enough to do many things and avoid many disasters. It was a very powerful method, and ordinary people naturally would not be able to use it. What was more important was that Zhao Fu would not suffer any backlash from Heaven's secrets. In the Emperor Path College's examination next year, Zhao Fu would have another powerful method, and he would not be much weaker than those true geniuses. Compared to when he had met Wu Wu, Zhao Fu had gone through great changes. Not only had he awakened the violet sky dragon star, but he had also obtained a divine bloodline, and he had also obtained celestial mode. If he fought with Wu Wu again, Zhao Fu was confident that he would be able to defeat Wu Wu without fusing with the Six Paths demon images. After all, Zhao Fu had the strength to do so, and it would not be so strenuous for him. Moreover, now that Zhao Fu had a divine bloodline and had the violet sky dragon star, the damage from fusing with the Six Paths demon images was greatly reduced. He would not be heavily injured like before. Zhao Fu had wanted to test out Celestial Mode's true power, but looking at Elise serving him while looking pitiful and flirtatious, Zhao Fu smiled and started to go at it with her. The other spider attendants happily gathered over. They had tried this a few times before, or else they would not feel so much need and anticipation towards Zhao Fu. Sounds continuously sounded out, and it was incredibly alluring. Zhao Fu started to do it with different spider attendants, causing them to moan and moan. Elsewhere, the Devil Horn Empire was currently discussing a major matter. After half a year of development, it was not just Qin City that had developed quickly. With the support of a few other royal kingdoms, the Devil Horn Empire had also developed incredibly quickly. They had also digested the population they had gained, and their military had greatly increased. Their weapons and equipment had also greatly improved, and they now had 3 million devil beasts, returning to their peak. Chapter 1296. Countless devil horn soldiers drank the blood-kin devil fountain's water, and obtained that forbidden power. Their strength greatly increased, and they were even more ferocious than before. Their battle power greatly increased as well. With the help of a few royal kingdoms, Yao Ming had developed a blood-kin forbidden technique, which allowed some soldiers to personally kill their brothers and parents and then have them eat their brothers and parents. Adding on the blood-kin spring water, they would become devil monsters. They were 2 meters tall and had 2 horns on their head. Their eyes were blood-red and they were well-built. Their bodies were covered with scales, and they could fight 7 or 8 people of the same level. There were not many of these monsters yet, as most of the soldiers killed their own relatives and ate their corpses. Yao Ming increased the rewards and used his power to entice more people. Many people had already started to kill their own relatives for wealth and power. At night, a young man holding a sharp knife stealthily walked into a room and looked at 2 sleeping elderly people. He thought to himself that it was time for these 2 old fellows to show their worth. With a few stabs, the young man killed the 2 elderly people. The 2 elderly people died quickly, and because they were asleep, they did not suffer much pain. The young man lay on the 2 elderly people's corpses and started to eat them. These 2 elderly people were his parents who had raised him for many years. Within the courtyard, a big man looked at the infant in his arms and thought about the massive wealth and power he had. He then looked at his wife, who had been knocked unconscious on the ground, and he decided that he would just have a few more. The big man raised the infant in his hands and wanted to smash it to death, but he thought that it would be too loud. As such, he used his hands to crush the infant and started to eat it. The infant's flesh was tender and smooth, and the taste made the big man feel infatuated. On the wasteland, a young man holding a dagger eerily smiled as he walked towards another young man. That young man already had a few wounds on his body, and blood dyed his clothes red. He weakly begged, "Little brother, I've treated you well, why are you doing this?" The young man coldly laughed, "Of course it's for power and status. Our king ate his little brother and obtained a massive increase in power. Big brother, please help me in the end." In the end, the young man killed his big brother. He did not leap down and devour him like a wild beast, but he slowly used his dagger to cut off his big brother's flesh and slowly ate it. Within the room, a young girl's face was covered with tears as she begged, "Big brother, don't do this. We can't do this." A young man was pressing down on a young woman's body, ravaging her. The young woman continuously struggled, while the young man savagely grinned and enjoyed her body. However, the young woman's struggles were too intense, so the young man strangled her with his hands and continued to ravage her body. Soon after, the young man finished venting and took a few bites of the girl's meat. After chewing a few times, he spat it out because he found that he was not used to eating raw meat. He chewed a bit of the young girl's flesh before spitting it out because he found that he was not used to raw meat. After a while, the aroma of meat wafted out. The young man added some seasonings and ate the girl's meat in big bites while thinking about his future glory and wealth. This kind of thing happened more and more. In order to obtain the strongest power, Yao Ming was willing to do anything. He did not have any principles or bottom lines. Since their king was like this, the others naturally did not have any scruples. This race nation soldiers King Blood Yao. And Yao Yao King of Yao King soldiers the king they Yao Yao King King Yao King soldiers they Yao King soldiers. The Devil Horn Empire's blood-kin devil soldiers became more and more numerous, reaching 400 to 500 million. Their battle strength could rival 3 billion ordinary soldiers, and with such a terrifying army, Yao Ming felt that anything was worth it. If this went on, his dream of a royal kingdom would be fulfilled, and he would be able to destroy the Qin Empire and devour Qin's legatee. With the Devil Horn Empire's current strength, they could start a war and did not need to continue developing peacefully. The Devil Horn Empire now had the ability to deal with many dangers. Yao Ming gathered his subordinates and started planning for the war. His target was not the Qin Empire because he knew that Qin had become much more powerful, and attacking the Qin Empire was not a wise decision. He needed even more power to destroy Qin Empire, and he did not have enough power yet. As such, he needed to continue attacking other worlds to obtain more power. Yao Ming chose the Lontong world because it was right next to the Devil Horn world. Moreover, after many years of fighting against the Lontong people, he had used up a large portion of his strength. Comparatively speaking, the Lontong world was weaker than the other worlds, so it would be easier to conquer and would consume less resources. Moreover, after conquering the Lontong world, the continent that the Lontong people had in the grassy world would belong to the Devil Horn Empire. When that time came, the Devil Horn Empire would have 5 continents, and if they could take down one of the continents that Qin Empire had conquered, the Devil Horn Empire would have the strength of 3 worlds. After making detailed plans, Yao Ming officially started to attack the Lontong world. Because the other worlds were wary of the Devil Horn Empire, they had to quickly resolve this war, or else the other worlds would also join in. In fact, they would also attack the Devil Horn Empire to tie down the Devil Horn Empire's forces. Moreover, Qin, their most powerful enemy, would definitely act to stop them. Because the Lontong people were often invaded by the Devil Horn Empire, they spent a lot of effort on their defenses, and it would not be easy to break through. It was not as if Yao Ming had not made any preparations. In actuality, 10 or so years ago, Yao Ming had placed many chess pieces in the Lontong world in preparation for this day to conquer the Lontong world as quickly as possible. Before, the Lontong world could work together with the Grassy world to defend against the Devil Horn Empire's invasion. Adding on the other worlds, the Devil Horn Empire would not be able to take down the Lontong world. However, things were different now. The Grassy world had been destroyed, and only the Lontong world remained. Moreover, the Devil Horn Empire had given the surrounding worlds massive benefits, so they were not too wary of the Devil Horn Empire. If the Devil Horn Empire suddenly attacked the Lontong world, they would not be able to react in time. Apart from sending out a large number of soldiers to defend against Qin's attack, the Devil Horn Empire once again sent out its full strength, preparing to take down the Lontong world in one fell swoop. Late at night, the sky was completely dark without any stars, making it quite dim. Visibility was quite poor, and the wind howled, making people feel quite uneasy. Chapter 1297. However, they could not do anything about a traitor, and it was not just one but 4 in total. They were spread across a few continents, and 3 of them were barony kingdoms and 1 was a marquisate kingdom. The pawns that the Devil Horn Empire had set up for 10 or so years were going to be used today. However, because the Lontong people had always been wary of the Devil Horn Empire and were on guard against traitors, they had to work together to defend and not spread out. If something happened, all of the Lontong people would know. According to Yao Ming's orders, a marquisate kingdom started an internal war and attacked many other kingdoms, causing the Lontong world to fall into chaos. Everyone did not know why this kingdom would overestimate itself and attack, but most of their attention and forces were drawn over. The 3 barony kingdoms' forces took this opportunity to take down a defensive wall, and the Devil Horn soldiers, who had been preparing for a long time, flooded in. Their ferocious aura swept out, and no one could stop them. By the time the Lontong people realized that the situation was bad, it was already too late. They hurriedly gathered to defend and asked for help. Countless flying beasts flew in the sky, covering the sky, and countless walking beasts flooded forwards. Massive amounts of devil chi covered the heavens and earth, and their blood-red eyes were incredibly eye-catching in the darkness. Seeing this scene, the countless Lontong people's legs became weak in fear. They felt an aura of death, and they could not help but tremble. Swish, 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 the sound of the air being torn could be heard as the terrified Lontong people shot out countless arrows like a rain of arrows. Flying beasts covered with arrows fell from the sky, and countless walking beasts were hit by countless arrows, causing them to howl in pain and die. But there were even more flying beasts on the city wall, using their claws to tear the bodies of the soldiers, using their beaks to bite off the heads of the soldiers, or using their bodies to directly knock the soldiers out. The blue-eye soldiers were dying one by one. The countless walking beasts smashed through countless defensive walls and charged into the city, smashing countless soldiers to death or trampling them into meat paste. Countless cries of pain and terror sounded out as the Lontong people started to run. The Devil Horn army easily entered the city. In order to motivate them to fight, the Devil Horn soldiers were allowed to do anything, whether it was killing people, robbing people, or raping people. Those ferocious soldiers attacked the city and laughed sinisterly. They killed anyone they saw, no matter who they were. They plundered everything of value. Regardless of whether those people surrendered or begged for mercy, a soldier laughed loudly and chopped off the limbs of a young man who was paralyzed with fear. He watched as the young man screamed and wriggled like a worm, leaving a trail of blood on the ground. One of the cavalrymen used a rope to tie up an old man and dragged him along. The old man's skin and flesh were torn apart, and he screamed in agony. In the end, he was dragged to death, and his flesh was a bloody mess. Bang! A loud sound rang out as 7 or 8 soldiers smashed open a room. Looking at the young man and the pregnant woman hiding in the room, they sneered and charged over. The young man knelt on the ground and begged, willing to surrender and hand over all of his belongings in exchange for the Devil Horn soldiers to spare them. However, the Devil Horn soldiers hacked the young man half to death before 7 or 8 soldiers took turns ravaging his pregnant wife. The young man was in immense pain and wanted to kill these bastards, but he did not have any strength. In fact, he was about to die, and he deeply experienced what it felt like to be the strong preying on the weak. He hated himself for not being stronger. Following this, the 7 or 8 soldiers took away all of their belongings and carried the weak woman. It was rare for them to play with such a beautiful woman, and they planned to bring her to the streets for 1 silver coin each time for the other soldiers to continue. In the end, the pregnant woman was killed by countless soldiers, and her body was covered with filthy liquid as her corpse was thrown to the side. These Devil Horn soldiers were not too bad, but the Bloodkin Devil soldiers were even more perverted. Because they were affected by that forbidden power, they enjoyed torturing and killing people. For example, they hung people upside down before cutting open their stomachs and tying them to pillars before cutting off their flesh. Some were even more perverted, burying people alive on the ground and sticking tubes in their mouths before pouring in kerosene and igniting them, causing them to burn from within without being able to struggle at all. It was incredibly painful and cruel. The Lontong army quickly gathered, but no matter if it was in terms of numbers or power, they were many times weaker than the Devil Horn people, and they did not have a massive Devil Beast army. However, the Lontong people still launched a final charge because they were the Lontong people's final force. If they could not stop the Devil Horn Empire's invasion, the Lontong world would be destroyed, and their families would die. Boom! The two powerful forces collided with each other, creating a deafening explosion. The sounds of countless weapons clashing rang out like thunder. Both sides fought with their lives on the line, causing blood to splatter everywhere. A Lontong person pierced through a Devil Horn soldier's chest with a spear, while a Devil Horn soldier chopped off a Lontong person's arm and slashed open his throat. Another Devil Horn soldier smashed a Lontong person's head with a hammer. The Lontong army gradually collapsed, and countless soldiers were unable to stop the Devil Horn army at all. They were either rammed to death by devil beasts or killed by countless Devil Horn soldiers. In the end, the Lontong people still lost, and only a few soldiers managed to escape. The ground was covered with Lontong people's corpses. The Devil Horn Empire's side cheered. They did not dare to be interested in ordinary corpses, but they cut off the heads of their commanders and used spears to stab them into the ground, announcing their victory. The last bit of resistance disappeared, and the Lontong people no longer had the strength to resist. Under the Devil Horn Empire's perverted and cruel methods, they chose to submit in fear, and in the end, the Lontong world perished. The battle only lasted for a few days, and at the start, the surrounding worlds did not even have time to react. By the time they gathered their forces, it was already too late. The Devil Horn Empire had already conquered the Lontong world, and even if they acted, they would not be able to reverse the situation. By now, the Devil Horn Empire had conquered 2 worlds and 9 continents, far surpassing Qin's strength and becoming the most powerful kingdom in this region. The kingdoms around the Devil Horn Empire hurriedly allied together because the Devil Horn Empire was simply too dangerous. If they did not do anything, they would perish like the Lontong world. At the same time, some other kingdoms also felt threatened and wanted to ally with other worlds to suppress the Devil Horn Empire. Some worlds invited Qin to join them in resisting the Devil Horn Empire, wanting to use the Qin Empire's power to suppress the Devil Horn Empire's arrogance. However, Qin did not respond and did not attack the Devil Horn Empire. Chapter 1298. After hearing that the Devil Horn Empire was attacking the Lontong world, Zhao Fu and his subordinates discussed whether or not they should attack the Devil Horn Empire. However, at most, they would only be able to stall the Devil Horn Empire and would not benefit Qin at all. As such, while the Devil Horn Empire was attacking the Lontong world, Qin could attack the Dark Demon world. Now that the Devil Horn Empire was attacking the Lontong world, they naturally would not have time to stop Qin. That way, Qin would have 3 worlds. Ever since the grassy, half-beast, and elf worlds had been split up, the Dark Demon world had entered a state of high alert. Without those 3 worlds they would not be able to stop Qin at all, and they would be the next world to be destroyed. Moreover, one of the Dark Demon world's continents had already been conquered by Qin, and they only had 4 continents in total, which meant that they would only have 3/4 of their territory left. It could be said that Great Qin could easily destroy them, and they were so terrified that they could only defend with all of their strength. If they did not do this, they would only be destroyed. However, even if they were united, they could only defend their own continents and could not gather all of their forces to fight a final battle with Qin. This was because Qin had already conquered 1 continent and could simultaneously attack 3 continents. As such, they naturally could not gather their forces together. This time, Qin split his forces into 3 groups and simultaneously attacked the 3 continents, conquering the Dark Demon world as quickly as possible. The strongest was the Eastern continent, which had 15,000 or so regions. Of the 7 legatees, 4 were from the Eastern continent, and the World Protector was also from the Eastern continent. It was definitely the most terrifying of the 4 continents. The other 2 continents were relatively weaker, so Zhao Fu naturally led his forces to attack the strongest Eastern continent, Bai Qi led his forces to attack the Western continent, and Wang Jian led his forces to attack the Northern continent. Zhao Fu quickly led his army to the Eastern continent. This place was filled with restrictions, and the Eastern continent wanted to stall for time. However, it was a pity that they were all destroyed by Qin. The 2 armies quickly clashed. One side stood on 100-meter-tall walls, looking incredibly serious and nervous. They gave off powerful auras, and it seemed that no one would be able to break through their defenses. As for Qin's side, they all wore black armor and gave off a majestic aura. They were even more terrifying than those in the Dark Demon world, and they were like dark demonic dragons that shook the surroundings and gave off a power that could cause anyone in the world to feel fear. Qin's forces far surpassed the Dark Demon world's. Because they had devoured many continents' people, they had 5 billion soldiers attacking the Eastern continent. However, there were at most 3 billion people in the Eastern continent of the demonic world. Many of them were ordinary people, and not proper soldiers. Otherwise, there would not have been so many people. However, because the Dark Demon world was a cultivation world, these ordinary people's bodies had fused with the Heaven Awakened world, so they had stage 1 cultivation. Zhao Fu stood in the air with Mo Yao Er by his side. Opposite him stood Mo Qi and a bald elder, who was one of the legatees and the demonic sect master. One could be said to be perfect. She wore white clothes and gave off an icy aura. She was the Dark Demon world's #1 beauty and the daughter of the celestial demon sect master. One was also peerlessly beautiful and had a graceful figure. However, she gave off a vicious aura, and it was obvious that she was not to be trifled with. She was the 2nd most beautiful woman in the Dark Demon world. There was also a handsome young man who gave a bright and confident smile. He was one of the legatees and was the legatee of a dynasty. Do you still think you have the power to resist? Just surrender. We can treat you well and won't pursue past matters. Zhao Fu stood in the air and gave a confident smile as he gave off a powerful aura. Mo Qi and the others' expressions were quite unsightly. They had not seen Zhao Fu in a long time, and his power was more than 10 times greater than theirs. If it was before, Mo Qi would have been able to fight against Zhao Fu, but now, he could not. Luckily, they still had their nation armaments, so they had a trace of resistance and would not be directly suppressed. Mo Qi looked at Zhao Fu seriously and did not reply to Zhao Fu. It was evident that he would not surrender. Next to him, the Dark Demon world's #2 beauty, Mo Qianqian, coldly laughed as she said, "We won't easily submit to anyone. If you have the ability, come and conquer us. Zhao Fu's smile faded as he said coldly, since you're seeking death, don't blame us. Boom! A terrifying aura spread out like a wild gale. Zhao Fu did not hesitate and exploded out with all of his power as he started to attack. Sensing Zhao Fu's terrifying aura, Mo Qi and the others' expressions fell, and they exploded out with their nation armament's power, causing powerful gales to sweep out. Zhao Fu disdainfully laughed, and also used his nation armament's power. He did not use his cultivation's power because that would take some time. However, if he used his nation armament, it would be a different story. After all, Qin now had 2 worlds and 4 continents. The power of his nation armament was not something that Mo Qi and the others' nation armaments could compare to. Xing! Zhao Fu rushed up and slashed out an enormous sword light. A sharp sword chi storm blasted out, and a terrifying sword light shot out with enough power to slash through everything. Mo Qi looked incredibly shocked. Not only did he use his sect armament's power, but he also used the Dark Demon World's clan armament. Facing the threat of extinction, his clan armament exploded out with its greatest power, but in the end it was still sent flying by a single strike from Zhao Fu. The bald elder roared as he slammed out with his palm. Countless traces of demonic qi flowed out, forming a 1,000-meter wide palm that gave off boundless destructive power as it slammed towards Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu casually slashed out with his sword, causing a blood-red sword arc to flash out. The palm condensed from demonic qi was instantly slashed apart, turning into countless traces of demonic qi and dissipating. A massive wave of sword energy sent the bald elder flying, and a gash appeared on his chest. The woman in white, the handsome young man, and Mo Qianqian gave off powerful auras as they once again rushed at Zhao Fu. However, they were also sent flying by Zhao Fu. Explosions sounded out in the sky as terrifying shockwaves spread out. The heavens and earth dimmed as a wild gale blew. However, it was evident that they were not a match for Zhao Fu at all. Even if they used all of their nation armament's power, they would not be a match for Zhao Fu. This was because the difference in power between the 2 sides was simply too great, whether it was their nation armament's power or their own power. As the battle in the sky unfolded, Qin's soldiers below started to attack. They first sent out a wave of talisman arrows, which gave off powerful rays of light as they flew out, seeming to tear the sky apart. The soldiers were instantly sliced into pieces by the rays of light, causing blood to fly everywhere as cries continuously sounded out. Zhao Fu first used a wave of talisman arrows to suppress the soldiers, and the countless wyverns and flying devil beasts roared as they gave off terrifying auras and directly attacked the defensive walls. Chapter 1299. As they attacked in the sky, the Qin soldiers on the ground roared as they rushed towards the defensive walls like a black tidal wave, giving off a terrifying aura that seemed to be able to destroy everything. Massive spiders easily climbed up the defensive walls and started to use their blade-like legs to cut at the soldiers' bodies. The massive corpse soul soldiers swung their heavy weapons, smashing the soldiers into meat paste. Countless massive wolves jumped up the defensive walls and started to madly tear at the soldiers. The illusion flower devils also opened their flowers, causing pollen to rain down, causing the soldiers to fall into illusions. With the devil beasts and ferocious beasts attacking, the Qin soldiers were much more relaxed. They used all sorts of methods to climb up the defensive walls and started to fight with the soldiers. A Qin soldier slashed out with his black saber, hacking into a dark demon soldier's head. A Qin soldier stabbed his black sword through a dark demon soldier's chest, and a Qin soldier stabbed his spear through a dark demon soldier's heart. The dark demon soldiers desperately resisted, killing countless devil beasts and ferocious beasts. They also started to counterattack against the Qin soldiers, and the battle between the 2 sides was incredibly intense. However, it was evident that the Dark Demon World was not a match for the Qin soldiers at all. From the very beginning, They had been suppressed by the Qin soldiers, and they did not have much defensive power. Most of the casualties were from the dark demon world, and the Qin soldiers had only suffered small casualties. Under this sort of pressure, the dark demon world could only use their trump cards. They activated demonic formations and massive waves of demonic qi spread out. The cold demonic intent caused people's hairs to stand on end. Demon generals that were 100 meters tall and wore demonic armor and held demonic weapons were summoned. They had savage expressions and gave off ferocious auras, and the massive demonic might cause the air around them to become incredibly heavy. After these demon generals were summoned, before they could roar and start killing, countless devil beasts ferociously leapt over, and the two sides started to fight intensely. A demon general slashed out with his saber, sending out a massive saber light that sent a corpse soul soldier flying. However, a few other beasts leapt up and started to tear at the demon general. A few giant wolves knocked a demon general to the ground and opened their mouths full of sharp teeth, tearing apart the demon general's body. The demon generals turned into traces of demonic qi and disappeared. Some demon generals were incredibly ferocious and stabbed their spears through the spider's body, killing it. Some demon generals held large axes and ferociously swung them, splitting a giant wolf in half and causing blood to spurt out. The corpse soul soldiers' large swords cut the demon generals into pieces. Even though Great Qin had suffered some losses, they were able to quickly kill the summoned demon generals and counterattack the dark demon soldiers. The dark demon world's soldiers withstood the attacks of the beasts and Great Qin's soldiers, continuously dying. Some people started to run in terror. The dark demon world was doomed to lose. There was no hope at all. Seeing this scene, the people from the spirit light to the spirit and to the spirit beasts from the spirit Qin started to gather. However, at the start, Qin's attacks had been too ferocious and there were too many of them. This made it so that the spirit light people did not dare to attack according to their original plan, which was to launch a sneak attack on Qin. Now, seeing that the dark demon world was about to lose, there was no point in attacking anymore, so they could only retreat to the spirit light world. Arg! Emochi gave a massive roar as he fully activated his clan armament and sect armament. A demonic light shot into the sky, causing the heavens and earth to continuously tremble. Boom! Zhao Fu coldly laughed as he slashed out with his sword, and the images of dismembered corpses around him gave off an unstoppable power that seemed to be able to kill everything as they inundated Emochi. After the images of the dismembered corpses dissipated, the dark demon world's world protector fell to the ground. Seeing that the world protector had died, everyone else threw down their weapons and knelt on the ground, shouting that they were willing to surrender. Zhao Fu coldly looked at the other legatees from the dark demon world. Their faces were pale, and they understood that they were not a match for Zhao Fu at all. Not only had they lost, but the army below had also lost, and the dark demon world had also lost. In the end, the other legatees could only submit or die. The dark demon world was going to perish, and they would not be able to escape. After they submitted, everything was much easier to deal with. Qin broke through the defensive walls and entered the east, and he started to take over cities. Most of the dark demon people could only submit to Qin, but there were still some stubborn people. Qin would kill and capture as many of these people as he could before throwing them into the devil world and turning them into devils. Groups of black-armored Qin soldiers entered cities, and countless dark demon residents knelt on the roadsides in fear. Sensing the darkness aura that these Qin soldiers gave off, their hairs stood on end. They were even more terrifying than the demon race, and they were a group of pure darkness soldiers. Qin soldiers started to gather the residents together and ransack them, finding anything of value, including food. Now, food was an important resource, and they could not waste any of it. If anything unexpected happened in the future, it would save their lives. At the same time, they caught some soldiers who were hiding and wanted to launch sneak attacks. These people hid and wanted to use the complicated structures of the cities to put up a final resistance. Even though there were not many of them, they could slow down Qin's soldiers and cause some injuries and death. Now, they had to use special methods to suppress the dark demon residents who had just submitted and to prevent them from resisting. After all, they had just surrendered, so they felt quite uneasy and needed special methods to calm down. Qin naturally would not try to persuade them, nor would he try to be a good person. He would only use bloody suppression. If those who had rebelled died, their clothes would be ripped off and their stomachs would be cut open, and they would be hung on the city walls like dried meat. If they did not die, they would be brought in front of everyone and punished, regardless of whether they were male or female, old or young. For example, they would tie people to pillars, and then start to peel off their skin bit by bit from their faces, revealing their blood-red muscles. Those people would not die any faster, and then they would be hung under the scorching sun. The scorching sun scorched their skinless muscles, causing them to feel pain in every part of their nerve. Pitiful cries continuously sounded out, and blood continuously flowed out. Arg, these pitiful cries could not be held back, nor could they be stopped. They sounded throughout the entire city, and it was so tragic that people's hairs stood on end. It was like a scene from hell. Chapter 1300. Now, these people were even more well-behaved, and Qin continued to clear out houses, skinned some people, and hung them up. Moreover, Zhao Fu ordered that if a person resisted, their entire family would be skinned. At the same time, anyone who dared to hide would be punished as well. This was quite effective, and the number of people resisting and hiding continuously decreased. Seeing this scene, the people who had just submitted to Zhao Fu could not bear it and wanted to say something, such as the legatee, the bright-smiling young man. However, Zhao Fu ignored them. Qin needed this method to suppress them as quickly and effectively as possible. They could not show any mercy to those who resisted. In the end, Zhao Fu went to the Demon Heaven sect. As the #1 sect in the Dark Demon world, it was the most powerful, and because of Mo Chi's death, the resistance was the most intense. They had even activated their sect's grand formation, preparing to fight one last time. Boom! Zhao Fu used his nation armament and slashed apart the sect's grand formation. He stood in the sky and watched as the Dark Demon world's last resistance faction was destroyed. Qin's soldiers rushed in and started a massacre, killing everyone regardless of whether they were male or female, young or old. Zhao Fu did not accept the Demon Heaven sect's stubborn resistance. Countless Demon Heaven sect disciples continuously died under his sabers, and the stench of blood continuously spread out as cries continuously sounded out. This was a complete massacre. A Qin soldier used his spear to pierce through the body of a woman who was protecting a child. The spear stabbed into the child's body, causing the child to cry out in pain. The woman's mouth bled as she looked at the soldier pleadingly. The soldier's expression was cold as he carried out Zhao Fu's orders. The spear in his hand trembled as a powerful energy spread out. Two pained cries sounded out as a large hole appeared in the woman and child's bodies. A great Qin soldier looked at the escaping young man and vigorously threw his spear. The spear flew out and pinned the young man to the wall, and an elderly man cried as he leapt at the young man. The one who had died was his son. The Qin soldier slowly walked over and looked at the old man who was crying bitterly as he hugged his son's corpse. His expression was cold as he drew out his long saber and chopped off the old man's head. Blood spurted out from the neck and splashed onto the wall. The old man's face was still that of crying bitterly. An old woman held a baby in her arms and begged bitterly. She said that the baby's parents had been killed by Qin. She hoped that Qin would let the baby live. If he wanted to kill someone, he would kill her. However, Qin's soldiers didn't even wait for her to finish speaking. Several beams of sword light flew out and chopped the old woman and the baby into pieces. Then, the soldiers continued to kill the others. Zhao Fu watched in satisfaction as the soldiers coldly carried out his orders. After fusing with the darkness crystals, their hearts had become dark and they would not show any mercy. They were like cold killing machines. This was what powerful soldiers should be like. Zhao Fu felt quite satisfied as he looked at the soldiers coldly carrying out his orders. Mo Yaoer, who was hugging Zhao Fu, said in pity, "Master, there were quite a few good-looking women down there, so why not enjoy them? Let's celebrate our victory at the demonic heaven sect. If those women don't want to stay, we can just kill them after playing with their bodies." After saying this, Mo Yaoer condescendingly looked at Mo Qianqian and the dark demon world's #1 beauty, Mo Xianxian, and said, "Also, you too, make sure to properly serve Master, or else your entire sect will suffer the same fate." In the past, the three of them had been the dark demon world's top 3 beauties, and there had been some enmity between them. Mo Yaoer's beauty and strength had been suppressed by the two of them, making her feel quite displeased. Now that she had followed her master, Zhao Fu, and conquered the dark demon world, she naturally had to properly teach them a lesson. Mo Xianxian stood there with a cold expression, giving off traces of coldness, and she did not reply. Mo Qianqian coldly harumphed. With her temper, she would definitely curse a bit, but she had just submitted and Mo Yaoer was one of Zhao Fu's favorites, so she naturally did not dare to say anything. After all, with Zhao Fu's cruel methods, he was evidently not a good person. "Your Majesty Qin, the Demon Heaven sect is willing to submit to Qin. Please stop the slaughter. We are willing to hand over the Demon Heaven sect's supreme treasure." An elderly man knelt on the ground and said in a sorrowful voice. Zhao Fu did not recognize this elder, and Mo Yaoer explained that he was the sect master of the Demon Heaven sect. Hearing this, Zhao Fu's expression became cold. These people had resisted so intensely before, but now that the slaughter had begun, they were afraid. However, Zhao Fu was quite interested in the supreme treasure that the elder spoke of, so he gave the order to stop the slaughter. The countless demon-like soldiers stopped, and the Demon Heaven sect's disciples powerlessly lay on the ground, as if they had just survived a calamity. Some people were so afraid that they started to loudly cry. Zhao Fu came to the elder's side and asked, "What is that supreme treasure?" Seeing that Qin had stopped the slaughter, the elder let out a sigh of relief, seeming to have aged 10 or so years as he said, "That item is a demon ancestor's finger, and it is within the depths of the Demon Heaven sect. It provides the Demon Heaven sect with countless traces of pure demonic qi." Demon ancestor? Hearing these 2 words, Zhao Fu knew a bit about them. The demon ancestor was the ancestor of the demon race, and the source of the countless demon race bloodlines. Each demon race only had one demon ancestor, and each demon ancestor would give birth to a demon race. If there was a demon ancestor's corpse, Zhao Fu would be quite delighted because it would be incredibly useful and could be used everywhere. It could be said to be a supreme treasure, but the elder only said that it was a finger, making Zhao Fu feel quite disappointed. In the end, Zhao Fu followed the elder to the depths of the Demon Heaven sect, which was thousands of meters underground. Within a massive stone cave, there was a pinky finger floating above a magic formation. This pinky finger was as white as jade and was the size of a normal person's thumb. It gave off a faint black light and a massive amount of demonic qi, as well as a powerful might. Zhao Fu's body uncontrollably gave off demonic qi. This was the sky demon aura that Zhao Fu had obtained from the sky demon sword. Even though the sky demon aura was a high-level power, it definitely could not compare to the demon ancestor's aura. Under the demon ancestor's aura, Zhao Fu could not control himself. At the same time, Zhao Fu felt a wave of hunger. He stretched out his hand and a formless energy grabbed the finger. He hesitated for a moment before placing it in his mouth and eating it. He was quite surprised that the demon ancestor's finger was quite delicious, and he wanted to take a few more bites. There was still some blood on the finger, and when he bit into it, blood spurted out. However, the bone was quite hard, so Zhao Fu vigorously chewed and crushed the bone before eating it. After the finger entered Zhao Fu's stomach, Zhao Fu's Holy Sun bloodline automatically started to digest the demon ancestor's finger. A massive wave of demonic qi spread throughout his body, and Zhao Fu's body automatically absorbed the demon ancestor's power. Chapter 1301. After eating the demon ancestor's finger, Zhao Fu's divine bloodline easily digested the demon ancestor's finger, leaving nothing behind. Zhao Fu now had some demon ancestor's power, but it was quite weak, so Zhao Fu did not pay it much mind. "Let's go." Zhao Fu looked at the shocked elder and said calmly. Following this, he walked out, and the elder hurriedly followed behind him. After coming outside, Qin's soldiers had completely taken control of the Demon Heaven sect, and all of the Demon Heaven sect's people were gathered together. Zhao Fu sat there and thought about how to deal with these people. He had wanted to punish them, but considering that they had admitted their mistakes, he decided to let them off this time. Mo Yao flirtatiously sat in Zhao Fu's embrace and said fawningly, "Master, I'll help you find 10 or so beauties from the Demon Heaven sect." Zhao Fu looked over and saw that Mo Yao had brought 10 or so women. All of them had graceful figures and snow-white skin. They were extremely beautiful, and their auras were quite outstanding. One of them was a green-robed woman who stood out the most. She had a voluptuous figure and gave off a proud aura. She was not weak at all, and her looks were not much inferior to Mo Yao's. She was definitely a peerless beauty. Mo Yao looked at Zhao Fu and then at the green-robed woman as she flirtatiously smiled and introduced her, saying, "Master, that's called Tianling. She's the daughter of the Demon Heaven sect's sect master and is the 4th-ranked beauty in the dark demon world. She's also Mo Chi's fiancée, and she's still a virgin. Does Master want to do her?" Hearing this, Zhao Fu laughed and lifted Mo Yao's chin as he said, "Are you the one who wants it, or am I?" Mo Yao giggled and kissed Zhao Fu's face as she said, "I like it when Master does me every day." Zhao Fu stopped Mo Yao from going any further. The other 2 continents in the dark demon world were progressing quite smoothly. Since the eastern continent's strongest faction had been destroyed, the other continents were naturally not too surprised. Bai Qi and Wang Jian were currently subduing 2 continents, and Zhao Fu was waiting for the results. Following this, Bai Qi and Wang Jian reported the details of the battle, and Zhao Fu listened attentively before giving the order to set up a defensive line at the border between the Spirit Light world and the Dark Demon world. Now, Zhao Fu knew that the Spirit Light world was participating, but they did not dare to make a move when they saw that Qin was too ferocious. They also had the ability to go to other worlds on a large scale. Finally, it was time to calculate their gains. Because it was a world, the dark demon race could not escape, so they had made great gains. First of all, the population had reached 40 billion, and the number of cities had reached 70,000. Secondly, there were all kinds of treasures and coins. At the same time, Qin had also collected a huge amount of food. At the same time, Qin's soldiers started to clear out the dark demon world, taking down the cities that had escaped to the wilderness or hidden locations to make sure that there were no more hidden dangers. They also left behind 100 regions for the heaven domain boundary. Within the Sky Demon sect, Zhao Fu started to do it with Tianling Mo Qianqian, Mo Xianer, and the other women. Looking at how they were panting beneath him, it seemed that all of the famous beauties of the dark demon world were gathered here. Zhao Fu felt quite satisfied and felt a sense of heroism. Looking at the world and conquering the various races, Qin was like a lion sweeping through the world, invincible and unstoppable. When drunk, he lay on the knees of beauties, and when awake, he would rule the world. When he was an emperor, he would be free and unfettered, becoming a monarch, establishing 1,000 years of hegemony, expanding boundless territory, conquering the various great races, and enjoying the most beautiful women. This was undoubtedly the dream of many people, the goal they pursued. Husband, I want more. The cold-looking Mo-Cien-heir, who had been the #1 beauty in the dark demon world, was now completely red as she tightly wrapped herself around Zhao Fu. After having fun for a while, Zhao Fu got up and led his army back to Qin. The invasion of the dark demon world had officially concluded, and Qin had conquered the dark demon world, becoming an empire with 3 worlds. After returning to Qin, Zhao Fu conferred concubines, and the Emperor Phoenix statue's power surpassed ordinary clan armaments. Now, the Qin Imperial Palace not only had people with large amounts of Phoenix Qi from the 3 worlds, but it also had people from the 3 worlds. Such an ocean of Phoenix Qi would greatly increase the Emperor Phoenix statue's power, and its power would definitely surpass that of a clan armament. After clearing out the dark demon world, Zhao Fu moved on to the spirit light world. At the same time, Zhao Fu heard that the Devil Horn Empire had successfully conquered the Lontong world, and the other worlds wanted to ally with Qin to suppress the Devil Horn Empire. Zhao Fu felt quite displeased. Before, Qin had sent out countless ambassadors to the other worlds to suppress the Devil Horn Empire, but not a single one had agreed. Now that they felt threatened by the Devil Horn Empire, they wanted to ally with Qin. However, Zhao Fu endured it. If the other worlds could ally to suppress the Devil Horn Empire, it was very likely that Qin would be able to destroy the Devil Horn Empire. Without the Devil Horn Empire as an obstacle, Qin's path would be unobstructed in the future. However, news of Qin conquering the dark demon world still spread. Conquering a world was such a big thing that it could not be hidden. After hearing about this, the other worlds were greatly shocked. The Devil Horn Empire was enough to make them feel terror, and now there was the Qin Empire as well. This caused their faces to become quite pale. There were tigers in front and wolves behind, and danger was everywhere. Now, the other worlds were not willing to work together with Qin. Qin now had 3 worlds and 3 continents, and it seemed that it was only slightly weaker than the Devil Horn Empire. In the end, the various worlds could only form an alliance to resist the Devil Horn Empire and Qin Empire, creating a situation where the world was split into 3. In response, Zhao Fu could only curse inwardly. He had expected that the other worlds would go back on their word and say something else. However, after hearing that the Lontong world had been conquered, he had sent a large number of soldiers to the grassy world. Now that the Lontong world had fallen, the continent that he had conquered naturally fell into the Devil Horn Empire's hands. The Devil Horn Empire originally had 4 continents, and with another one, it now had 5. If they could conquer Qin's continent, the Devil Horn Empire would have 3 worlds. Zhao Fu would not allow such a thing to happen no matter what, and he had to defend Qin's continent in the grassy world. Now that 2 massive factions had appeared, they attracted the attention of the surrounding hundreds of worlds. Some factions from the inner domains were quite interested in these 2 factions, especially those from the ancient stem domain. After all, these 2 factions occupied 7 worlds, and if one of them won, the ancient stem domain would have a 21st royal kingdom. Moreover, because this was a boundary region, it did not directly affect the interests of the various royal kingdoms and sects. As such, they did not feel any ill will, and they instead wanted to support one side in order to gain a reliable ally in the future. Chapter 1302. Most of these factions were willing to support Qin. After all, it was incredibly rare for Qin to have such shocking achievements as a new world, and his potential was even greater than the Devil Horn Empire's. Moreover, many things had happened near the Qin Empire, and it was possible that these things were related to the Qin Empire. This made the Qin Empire seem a bit more mysterious. So many people were willing to support the Qin Empire. Many factions sent ambassadors to Qin, and there were even some familiar faces, such as the Ice Origin Kingdom's Bing Qixue, the Heavenly Music Sect's Yin Ruoshi, the Wine Sun Kingdom's Jiu Shaoyun, the Volcano Sect's Yen, and even the ancient sword sex people. In response, Zhao Fu did not dare to show himself. After all, even if he wore a cloak and mask, it was possible that he would be recognized. Once he was recognized, Qin's fate would be quite terrible. Zhao Fu had Li Si receive them, and this caused many people to feel quite displeased. Some of the legatees of royal kingdoms and sects had personally come, which showed the sincerity of these royal kingdoms and sects. Great Qin's king did not even show his face, which made it seem as if he was looking down on them. Li Si was quite good at dealing with this, and he said that Zhao Fu was sick and would not be able to come out. However, Zhao Fu did not want to work with these people. After all, the ancient sword sect was an enemy, and the Qin Empire would definitely destroy it. Moreover, because of what had happened in the past, the Tao cultivation sect might stand against them in the future. There were also some factions that did not have enmity with Qin, but if they found out about Zhao Fu's identity, they might act against Qin. If they worked together and interacted more in the future, many things might be leaked. If he directly refused, he would offend everyone. If they became enemies with Qin or supported the Devil Horn Empire, Qin would be at a great disadvantage. In the end, Zhao Fu endured his discomfort and accepted the cooperation of the large factions. Zhao Fu did not want the resources that the ancient sword sect and the Tao cultivation sect provided, as he already viewed them as enemies. However, Zhao Fu did not dare to refuse. Putting aside the Tao cultivation sect, which was the most powerful faction in the ancient stem domain, just the ancient sword sect alone would definitely be able to destroy Qin. As such, Zhao Fu felt quite troubled. At the end of the conversation, the envoys from all sides were very interested. They started to have fun in Qin City. They were surprised by the culture, customs, and prosperity of Qin City. There were also all kinds of novel things, such as the human world's dramas, poems, and all kinds of food and wine. What surprised them the most was the situation in Qin City. All kinds of ideas and cultures collided and merged, making Qin City full of vitality. This was something that the sects in their country did not have. They were also a little curious about how Qin had managed to create such a magnificent scene. They were afraid that it was not something that could be done overnight. It was very likely that it had something to do with Qin's national policy. Because Qin had been maintaining such a situation, all kinds of sects strongly supported him, which was completely different from them. Whenever they destroyed a faction, they would directly wipe out everything related to that faction and would not leave anything behind. Like this, there would not be any future troubles. However, Qin City had taken the opposite path, and the results were quite good. Now, the feeling that Qin City gave off was that a powerful empire was slowly rising in the boundary region, and this momentum was unstoppable. Looking at the black-armored soldiers holding black weapons and giving off a powerful darkness aura patrolling around, they felt quite shocked. They felt that all of Qin City's soldiers were not simple at all, and they were all very powerful. No wonder they had such accomplishments even though they were new to this world. The various factions all highly approved of Qin City and felt that they had not misjudged Qin City's potential. Supporting Qin City was the best choice compared to supporting the Devil Horn City, and supporting Qin City was the correct choice. Everyone felt quite interested and continued to play on the streets, admiring the scenery and prosperity of Qin City. Some people wanted to see Qin City's true strength. Bing Qixue was quite interested in the people holding brushes and writing on the streets, while Bai Haoren was quite interested in books from various sections. Jiu Xiaoyun was addicted to all kinds of wine, and Qing Muji held all kinds of snacks in her hands as she continued to look around curiously. After playing around for most of the day, the things they had heard the most were about their Qin Empire's emperor. Not only did he have extraordinary talent and was like a godlike existence in the empire, but he also accepted many virtuous officials and was fair in giving out rewards and punishments. He loved his people as if they were his own children, and his policies were clear and clear. At the same time, There were also some rumors about how the emperor was very interested in other people's wives and mothers. There were also rumors about Qin City's harem. There were countless beauties there, and all of them were as beautiful as fairies. Mortals could not profane them, and it was a place that countless men dreamed of. After asking around, they found out that the Qin emperor had taken beauties from many worlds into his harem, and the most beautiful women in the surrounding worlds were gathered there. The rumors were most likely true, but they still felt quite shocked at the massive number. With so many women, the Qin emperor was simply too dissolute. Could he really handle it? By now they heard about the Qin emperor's abilities, and they could not help but feel dumbfounded, thinking about a humanoid dragon beast. Of course, there were also other rumors that were known to the public. Fortunately, the Qin emperor did not publicize the important things, so they could not find out anything useful. However, they were more curious about the crown prince of Qin, whom they had never met before. Some people returned to their own forces with all kinds of information obtained from the Qin emperor, while some stayed in the Qin Empire to meet the Qin emperor, because the Qin emperor was the ruler of the empire, the core of everything. They wanted to know what kind of person the crown prince of Qin was. Only by knowing what kind of person the Qin emperor was could they better understand what kind of country the Qin empire was. However, how could Zhao Fu meet them? The consequences of revealing his identity were too serious. Therefore, he would never meet them. He could only refuse them with all kinds of excuses. In the end, they returned with resentment, and at the same time, they were curious and confused. Why didn't the Qin emperor meet them? What kind of person is the crown prince of Qin? They did not know any of this, and they would never have thought that the Qin emperor was the mysterious crown prince whose name shook the world. Yao Ming knew that there were so many factions supporting the Qin empire, but the faction that had come to him was only a seventh of the other sides. Yao Ming felt incredibly furious because it was evident that those factions looked down on the Devil Horn Empire and believed that the Qin Empire would definitely win. Chapter 1303. After sending off the ambassadors, Zhao Fu let out a sigh of relief. The Devil Horn Empire was digesting the Lontong world, and the Qin Empire was digesting the Dark Demon world. The other alliances did not want to cause trouble, and this place entered a temporary period of peace. Zhao Fu now had a few things to take care of. The first thing was to plant celestial peaches. Before, when Zhao Fu had eaten a celestial peach, he had left behind a purple-patterned peach pit. This purple-patterned peach pit could grow into a 9,000-year-old celestial peach, and it had shocking effects. Zhao Fu did not know if Zhao Fu would be able to grow a celestial peach in his lifetime, but it would at least be a powerful trump card for Qin's future. However, Zhao Fu did not know if he would be able to grow it, as the celestial peach was incredibly high grade. Zhao Fu did not know if he would be able to grow it. As such, Zhao Fu planned to create a fountain of life for the celestial peach to provide a large amount of life force to the celestial peach. This spring water of life was the same as ordinary spring water of life. It wasn't the special spring water of life from before, because it required corpses to be continuously thrown in to produce spring water of life. Ordinary spring water of life relied on gathering large amounts of life aura to produce spring water of life. This was because Zhao Fu wanted to directly plant the celestial peach in the fountain of life instead of beside it. Only by planting it in the fountain of life would it be able to provide the most life force. Because the celestial peach was too high grade, Zhao Fu was worried that it would not be able to grow. Moreover, there was only one peach pit, and it was almost impossible to obtain another one. As such, he had to be extremely careful. Because Qin had a large number of spirits, they now had the ability to create ordinary fountain of life. Under Zhao Fu's orders, a beautiful fountain of life was constructed. It was a 10 or so meter wide pool made of pure white stone bricks, and there were many flowers and green leaves carved on it. The pool gave off a faint green light and gathered large amounts of life force in the surroundings. There was a magic formation at the bottom, and under Zhao Fu's orders, it was not made of stone bricks. Zhao Fu came to the center of the array and gently dug a shallow pit with his hands. Then, he placed the purple-patterned walnut in it and covered it with soil. After activating the magic formation at the bottom, countless traces of life energy flowed into the peach pit, but the peach pit did not react at all. Zhao Fu had long since expected this and understood that the peach pit's grade was too high, so it would take some time for him to see any results. Some people were left behind to look after the immortal peaches to prevent any accident. Following this, Zhao Fu went to the military equipment department. An extremely terrifying weapon had been developed, which was the upgraded dragon-slaying ballistae. Long ago, Zhao Fu had ordered his subordinates to improve the dragon-slaying ballistae. The first was to simplify and reduce its power, but it could be mass-produced. Simplification was easy, but it was more difficult to make it more complicated. That was why the first method was mass-produced very quickly, and the second method had only just been completed. The reason they had come here was naturally to test out the power of the ultimate dragon-slaying ballistae. Standing in an open space, 500 or 600 soldiers were each dragging a rope, strenuously dragging out a massive and terrifying ballista. This ballista was 100 meters long and looked incredibly savage and terrifying. It was a pale white color, and there were countless runes on its surface. It gave off a might, and even though it did not do anything, just by standing there, it gave off a sense of intimidation. The ballista's materials had reached the saint grade and were the bones of a massive beast. There were 6 bowstrings on the ballista, each of which was transparent and made from high-quality dragon tendons. There were 7 massive crystals embedded in the front of the ballista, which represented yin, yang, metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Looking at the massive ballista, Zhao Fu felt quite shocked and was sure that the power that this ballista gave off was incredibly terrifying. Bai Shan gave a pleased smile and said, "Your Majesty, what do you think? Are you satisfied with the results of our research?" Zhao Fu looked at him and nodded as he said, "Let's test its power. We want to know how terrifying it is." "Your Majesty, watch carefully." Bai Shan smiled and gave the order. 6 corpse soul soldiers that were 100 meters tall walked out and placed a 130-meter-long arrow on the ballista. This 130-meter-long arrow was completely black and was also made from saint-grade materials. There were countless runes on it, and there were 100 or so golden talisman stones embedded in it. There was also a violet talisman stone that gave off a destructive power. The 6 corpse soul soldiers roared as they pulled the bowstrings. Even with their massive power, it was incredibly difficult for them to pull the bowstrings. The 7 massive crystals on the ballista were activated and countless rainbow-colored runes lit up as a massive wave of power flowed into the arrow. A massive aura spread out. Boom! The arrow turned into a rainbow-colored ray of light as it shot out. A massive explosion sounded out as space seemed to explode and a shock wave spread out, causing the ground to crack. The ray of light gave off immense power as it tore through space, tearing open a long rift and leaving behind a rainbow-colored trail. It was incredibly fast and flashed through the air, shooting towards a large mountain dozens of kilometers away. Bang! Chapter 1304. His vision blurred and Zhao Fu once again came to a barren wasteland. He looked around and found that there was no danger. Following this, Zhao Fu headed towards the Emperor Path College. There was an ocean of people there, and all of them had powerful auras. None of them were weaklings, and all of them had extraordinary identities. After all, it was one of the heaven-awakened world's 7 great colleges. Not only was it powerful to the point that it could cause others to despair, but its history and foundations were also terrifying. It was a holy land for emperors in countless people's hearts. Countless famous emperors had appeared here, and the Heaven Murder Empire's imperial prince had once been a student here. The Golden Dragon had strongly recommended Zhao Fu to come here. Even if one was a true imperial prince, if one did not pass the college's examination, one would not be able to enter through connections. It could be seen just how powerful and difficult Emperor Path College was. They did not give any face to empires, and even imperial princes would not be able to enter. Normally, there were countless terrifying restrictions protecting this place, and even higher beings did not dare to barge in. The Emperor Path College was incredibly mysterious, and now that the entrance examination had begun, everyone had a chance to see the Emperor Path College. Countless people naturally came excitedly. Even though the Emperor Path College did not restrict anyone from entering, not everyone could enter. If the Emperor Path College was greedy, a single ticket would be worth 100 million gold coins. However, the Emperor Path College did not care for that kind of money, and only those with a certain level of strength could enter the Emperor Path College. At the entrance, there were 2 domineering and solemn dragon pillars, and the Golden Dragon seemed to come to life. It gave off a massive dragon's might, and it was like a corporeal energy barrier that covered the 1,000 meters around the entrance. If one was powerful, they could ignore the Golden Dragon's might and calmly enter the Emperor Path College without any resistance. If one was weak, they would be forced to kneel on the ground. Most of the people in the crowd were people blocking the entrance, and there were also some people observing from the outside. They mainly wanted to see some peerless geniuses. Many major figures would come to visit the Emperor Path College, and they would not be seen by ordinary people. Zhao Fu went to the outside, but he could not squeeze in. Zhao Fu was not in a hurry to enter the Emperor Path College, and he observed some of the major figures like ordinary people. Now, Zhao Fu was quite curious about the difference between his strength and that of the Heaven Domain's peerless geniuses. He could take a look now to gain some confidence. If the difference was too great, he could go back and work harder. Zhao Fu looked in the direction of the sound, and the crowd automatically parted to make a path for them. Under the gazes of countless people, the 5 of them walked over with a transcendent demeanor. Oh my God! The river basin's 5 heroes have come. Are they also planning on entering Emperor Path College? I'm so excited! As soon as I arrived, I saw the river basin's 5 heroes. To be able to see the 5 of them makes this trip worth it. The 5 of them are entering Emperor Path College for the first time this year. This year's new students are simply too eye-catching. That's right. They've been in the limelight recently. 5 of them destroyed a duchy. Zhao Fu was quite curious about these 5 people's identities, so he looked at the dignified and excited young man and asked, "Who are they? Are they very famous in the Heaven Domain?" The dignified young man grinned and said, "They're not just famous, they're extremely famous. Look at that white-clothed young man. He's called Nong Yi, the prince of the Tian Imperial Kingdom. That young man with the folding fan is Dun Hoji, the prince of the Heaven Domain's Dun family. That muscular young man is the young sect master of the Divine Martial Sect. That fairy-like beautiful woman is Bai Roland, from the 100 Kingdoms in Heaven Mountain, and that young man is the young sect master of the demon-seeking dynasty. What do you think? Are you shocked? The factions behind them are all large factions in the Heaven Domain, and they all have extraordinary power that can rival world realm experts. If they were ranked in the human domain, they'd definitely be in the top 50. Zhao Fu looked quite awkward and did not feel shocked at all. After all, Zhao Fu did not know any of the factions that the young man had mentioned, and he asked, "Only in the top 50? The young man laughed. "What do you mean only in the top 50? If you can enter the top 50 in the human realm, that means you are standing above millions of geniuses. Every single one of them is a peerless character. Believe it or not, they can crush you with a single hand." The Heaven Domain was incredibly big, but it was split into 8 domains, which were divided by the 8 races. Emperor Path College was the most top-tier college in the human domain, and no other college in the human domain could compare to it. A kind-looking middle-aged man next to him smiled and said, "Little brother, you're quite good. You're not from the heaven region, are you? Otherwise, there's no way I wouldn't know about the 5 of them. They are the 5 most talented people in the river basin. That's why they're called the river basin's 5 heroes. There have been a lot of shocking stories about them recently. Just ask around and you'll know how terrifying they are. Also, let me remind you that no matter what status you have in the inner regions, in the heaven domain, you can only lie down and lower your head. Don't say anything because the people in the heaven domain are not people that ordinary people can afford to offend. You might even die, so don't say those words again." The middle-aged man thought that Zhao Fu was from the central domain and did not know much about the situation, so he gave him a warning. He did not know that Zhao Fu was from an even more remote outer domain. Hearing the middle-aged man's kind reminder, Zhang Xian smiled and thanked him. Facing that massive dragon's might, the 5 people's expressions slightly changed because they felt a wave of pressure. However, they were able to easily pass through it, causing everyone to sigh in amazement. Boom! A berserk aura spread out like a wild gale, and the people in the surroundings quickly retreated as a well-built, bearded young man appeared. "That's the Beast Empire's Imperial Prince." A cry of surprise sounded out, and everyone's gazes were focused on that person. It was an extremely famous genius who had descended. The strong-looking young man knew that Zhao Fu, a country bumpkin, did not know, so he excitedly explained to Zhao Fu, "That's the Beast Empire's 3rd Imperial Prince. Based on strength, he can enter the top 40 of the human domain rankings. Such a powerful Imperial Prince is only ranked 40th. Do you know how terrifying the people on the human domain rankings are now?" However, Zhao Fu still calmly nodded because Zhao Fu did not dare to be interested in those in the top 40 or 50. The young man felt quite displeased and said, "That's an Imperial Prince. He's an Imperial Prince who reigns above countless people and is a terrifying figure that you can't even see in the inner regions. Can't you at least have some reaction? Also, you're saying that he's more powerful than him?" Zhao Fu laughed and shook his head. He naturally would not reveal his identity. Chapter 1305. No matter what, the young man did not believe that Zhao Fu had that kind of power. Looking at Zhao Fu's current appearance, it was likely that Zhao Fu was even weaker than him. If that was the case, what he had said before would have been nonsense, so he felt quite self-mocking. The Imperial Prince easily withstood the dragon's might and entered Emperor Path College, and everyone looked away. Suddenly, a flirtatious laugh sounded out as an intoxicating fragrance wafted out, causing everyone's hearts to tremble. They looked over and saw a peerlessly beautiful woman in a pink palace dress with an alluring figure. The woman gave off an incredibly attractive aura, and everyone's gazes were drawn over. Their hearts sped up and their breathing became ragged as their bodies instinctively reacted. However, a cold harumph sounded out, causing everyone to feel as if they had fallen into a world of ice and snow. A wave of coldness flowed over, stinging their skin. Everyone came back to their senses and quickly looked away in fear, not daring to look at the woman again. The scene became deathly silent. A young man in snow-white robes appeared next to the woman and coldly looked around before hugging the woman and walking towards Emperor Path College. The people in the surroundings automatically made way for them in fear, and the woman gave a flirtatious smile as she leaned against the young man's embrace, looking incredibly sweet as she walked forwards. However, when she passed by Zhao Fu, she seemed to sense something and her body froze. Her expression changed as she looked at Zhao Fu, and her body started to heat up as a lustful light appeared in her eyes. Sensing the change in the woman, the young man frowned and looked at Zhao Fu within the crowd. He prepared to attack and kill Zhao Fu. The woman hurriedly pulled the young man and said coquettishly, "Husband, don't misunderstand. I just feel that he looks like someone I know, and I'm not interested in him. Moreover, I'm your person and my heart is filled with you. Don't you trust me?" Hearing this, the young man's expression eased and he stopped. The incredibly alluring woman flirtatiously smiled at Zhao Fu as she clamped her legs together, doing her best to stop the liquid from flowing out. She then followed the young man into Emperor Path College. The young man gulped and felt that the woman had smiled at him, causing his heart to soften. He then introduced the woman to Zhao Fu, saying, "That woman is called Xiang Qianqian, the young mistress of the 10,000 Desire Palace. Her seduction techniques have reached perfection, and all men are infatuated with her. She is ranked 12th on the human domain's new rankings, but it's a pity that she's someone else's wife. It's that young man next to her. His name is Tsang Kongyue, the 9th prince of the Tian Tsang Empire. His strength is extremely terrifying. He can enter the top 30 of the human realm in the new edition. Xiang Qianqian can also enter the top 40. The human realm had its own ranking, and this ranking was also divided into years, recording different people in each period. The new version was the latest human realm ranking. Zhao Fu understood and nodded, but his expression was quite unsightly. From the woman's smile, he could tell that she had other intentions, and Zhao Fu did not want to cause trouble. As such, he could only suppress the 6 desires' demonic qi within his body. Just then, the 6 desires' demonic qi had uncontrollably floated towards the woman, wanting to forcefully toy with her. The middle-aged man next to him looked quite serious because he could tell that the woman had smiled at Zhao Fu. For such a grand figure to act like this, perhaps the cloaked figure's identity was not simple either. Boom! An explosion sounded out as a massive emperor's aura spread out and 2 people appeared in front of everyone. Zhao Fu felt a familiar aura and turned to look. He hurriedly hid his aura and hid within the crowd. Enemies really did meet on a narrow road. Zhao Fu actually recognized one of those 2 people, and they were most likely enemies because that person was Zhang Mingyue. The young man next to him started to introduce them, saying, "Those are the Zhang Empire's 2 imperial princes. The one in front, Zhang Weiyue, is already a student of Emperor Path College and is quite famous in the Heaven Domain. The one behind him is most likely his little brother, and he most likely brought his little brother here to take a look. He plans to enter Emperor Path College next year." Hearing this, Zhao Fu's heart sank. If Zhang Mingyue was also at Emperor Path College, it would be quite troublesome in the future. However, Zhao Fu had no other choice, nor did he have the ability to go to another college. Boom! 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 Massive auras descended as more peerless geniuses descended, causing countless people to cry out. The young man next to him excitedly introduced them to Zhao Fu, and Zhao Fu looked at their strength. The middle-aged man next to him also politely chatted with Zhao Fu. Xing! A sword light giving off massive sword qi shot over from the horizon as a peerlessly beautiful woman in green appeared, giving off a corporeal sword intent. So beautiful! So powerful! Everyone stared at the woman in front of them, and they could not help but cry out. The woman was tall and slim, and her skin was like jade. Her looks could be said to be perfect, and her sword-like eyebrows gave off a dense heroic aura, causing people's hearts to palpitate. That corporeal sword intent seemed to be able to destroy the heavens and earth, and no one dared to get close. The young man next to her introduced her with an infatuated look on his face, saying, "She's the sword sect's second Miss, Jian Luiyue. Her strength can enter the top 20 of the human domain rankings, and with her beauty, she's ranked 9th. Zhao Fu was not in the mood to listen to the young man's words because that woman also gave off an extreme sword intent. Zhao Fu's killing sword intent had a powerful reaction, so Zhao Fu did his best to suppress it in order to not draw too much attention. Seeing the woman enter Emperor Path College, Zhao Fu let out a sigh of relief. Jian Luiyue had already given Zhao Fu a great deal of pressure. Moreover, Even though the geniuses that had appeared were quite powerful and had decent reputations, the true experts had not come yet. For example, the top 10 of the Heaven Domain rankings had not appeared yet. Those were the most dazzling geniuses of the human domain, people who stood above the entire human domain. They were people that countless geniuses could only look up to. They most likely would not appear this time, and would only appear during Emperor Path College's official examination. Emperor Path College's examination would receive the attention of the entire human domain, and if they became famous, the entire human domain would know about them. Boom! Another explosion sounded out as a 5-colored ray of light landed on the ground and a massive aura spread out. Everyone in the surroundings retreated as an elegant-looking young man in white appeared before everyone. The young man next to Zhao Fu felt quite surprised as he looked at that person and said, "Who would have thought that he would also come? He's a rising star and the disciple of a higher being." In actuality, even without the young man's introduction, Zhao Fu knew that person. Zhao Fu also knew that person, that white-clothed young man was Bai Xingjun. Zhao Fu had never thought that he would come to Emperor Path College if he did not take a higher being as his master. Chapter 1306. Following this, they waited for a while, but no more geniuses appeared. Others prepared to try and see if they could enter Emperor Path College. Seeing those powerful geniuses walk into Emperor Path College so easily, they had thought that it would be quite simple. However, only after walking into the range of the dragon's might did they realize how terrifying it was. Countless people stepped in and felt as if the sky had collapsed. Their minds went blank, and their bodies crumpled to the ground, unable to move at all. So terrifying! Seeing a large number of people fall, those who had not entered the range of the dragon's might cried out in shock. They felt quite afraid and did not dare to continue. Some people thought about it and exploded out with their full power. They walked in and felt a massive might weighing down on their bodies. They gritted their teeth and walked forwards with great difficulty, their bodies covered with beads of sweat. However, even though some people fell, some people still successfully entered Emperor Path College. This gave many people confidence, and they also entered the range of the dragon's might. However, most people failed, and only a small portion of people passed. Zhao Fu also walked towards Emperor Path College, and the young man next to him laughed as he said, "Don't tell me you want to enter Emperor Path College as well? I'd advise you not to make things difficult for yourself. I'm sure you don't even know what Emperor Path College is. Let me introduce you, so don't go looking for trouble." The young man did not have any ill intentions and just wanted to give him a reminder. Zhao Fu looked at Emperor Path College's entrance and lightly laughed as he replied, "No need." Zhao Fu walked towards Emperor Path College, and the young man wanted to try to persuade Zhao Fu, but the middle-aged man next to him cut him off. "Don't try to persuade him. Perhaps that person will be able to enter Emperor Path College. Don't you feel that he's not simple?" These words caused the young man to feel quite startled. Zhao Fu was not simple? Looking at Zhao Fu's back, the young man still did not believe it, as he felt that it was impossible for Zhao Fu to enter Emperor Path College. After walking a few steps, Zhao Fu was pushed back and forth by people, and there was an impenetrable wall of people in front of him. Seeing how weak Zhao Fu was, the young man couldn't help but loudly laugh. Boom! Suddenly, an unimaginably massive might pressed down on everyone's bodies like a massive hand. Everyone's souls trembled, and they felt as if they had fallen into a bottomless abyss. Boundless darkness flowed over, and some people's legs became weak as they knelt to the ground. The young man's smile froze, and the middle-aged man was also quite shocked. Everyone else looked at Zhao Fu in shock. Zhao Fu could not help but explode out with his power and did not hide it at all. Everyone within 1,000 meters of Zhao Fu collapsed to the ground, and only Zhao Fu remained standing. The young man looked quite shocked. He had never thought that the person who he would have such terrifying power. Even though he had Zhao Zhaochun, he could not help but felt that this might not only cause the expressions of the people in the surroundings to fall, but even the guards' expressions became serious. They felt an immense sense of danger, making them feel as if they were suffocating. Now, no one dared to block in front of Zhao Fu, and they respectfully made way for him. This might not only caused everyone's expressions to fall, but even the guards' expressions became serious. Zhao Fu arrived in front of the dragon's might, and looking at the might that the golden dragon gave off, he stepped in. Roar! Roar! Terrified dragon roars sounded out as the dragons sensed Zhao Fu's aura and curled up within their dragon pillars, looking like small snakes. None of them dared to give off any might towards Zhao Fu, and they looked at Zhao Fu as if he was their master. It was not just the people watching, but even the Zhao dynasty's guards looked incredibly shocked. This was something that had never happened before. No matter how powerful or terrifying a person was, the golden dragon had never felt so much fear before. This was the first time something like this had happened in Emperor Path College. In actuality, the golden dragon's might was not just this. After all, the golden dragon had not released its full power. If it released its full power, even a higher being would not be able to defend against it. However, the golden dragon was indeed afraid. It was not because of Zhao Fu's power, but because Zhao Fu was definitely not the most powerful person in Emperor Path College. It was because Zhao Fu's aura caused the golden dragon to instinctively fear him. Who was this person in front of him? How could there be such terrifying power and such shocking abilities? Zhao Fu sighed. He did not want to cause such a commotion. He ignored everyone's gazes and walked to the Emperor Path College's entrance. At that moment, the Zhao dynasty's guard could not help but ask, "Sir, where are you from?" "May I ask where you are from?" Zhao Fu calmly replied, "I'm just an unremarkable minor figure." Of course, the Zhao dynasty's guards did not believe him. How could such a terrifying figure be an ordinary minor figure? As such, they hurriedly reported this to the higher-ups. At first, the higher-ups did not pay too much attention and thought that it was just a slightly more powerful or special person. However, that person's appearance caused even the golden dragon to feel fear, causing them to feel quite shocked. After all, Emperor Path College's golden dragon was not an ordinary golden dragon. It was something that had fused with the gatekeeping formation. If it released its power, even a higher being could be killed. It could be said that even if a higher being descended, the golden dragon would not be able to cause golden dragons to feel fear, unless it was something that could suppress their bloodline and dragon soul. That sort of thing was incredibly rare, and almost impossible to obtain. Even the most noble dragon species in the dragon race would not be able to cause golden dragons to feel fear. Just how had that cloaked figure done it? This matter even shocked Emperor Path College's higher beings. After hearing about it, they could not help but want to meet Zhao Fu and see just what sort of existence Zhao Fu was. However, another higher being had appeared and quelled this matter, making it seem as if nothing had happened. The Zhao dynasty's guards had received orders not to spread this matter, and those who disobeyed would be severely punished. Of course, the Zhao dynasty's guards understood how terrifying this matter was, so they would not say anything about it even if they were beaten to death. However, with so many people at the gates, news about Zhao Fu quickly spread, causing a small commotion. Of course, Zhao Fu did not know about any of this. After entering Emperor Path College, Zhao Fu felt as if he had entered a different world, and it was completely different from what he remembered. What entered Zhao Fu's eyes was a green grassland with many unknown flowers. The sky was very blue and there was a light breeze, creating a beautiful scene. There were also stone and brick paths on the grass that led to different places. There were also mighty and domineering statues of soldiers that were 10 meters tall on the sides of the paths. Every path had a stele that indicated where each path led to, and there was only one path that led to the new students. Zhao Fu tried to enter another path, but he was repelled by restrictions. It seemed that there was only one path he could choose. Chapter 1307. This was most likely where the ordinary people of the college lived. Zhao Fu looked around and found that it was not much different from the outside, except that everyone's auras were much more powerful than the ordinary people outside. Zhao Fu saw that there were many people gathered in front of a tall stone stele, so he walked over and found that there were over 1,000 people's names recorded on it. After hearing from the people around him, Zhao Fu understood that this was the Emperor Path College's rankings. The person in first place was called Emperor Junwang, and he was the legatee of one of the most powerful empires, the human race empire. He had a peak sovereign bloodline and his strength surpassed the Emperor Heaven Realm. The person in second place was called Tailing Jun. He was a disciple of one of the most powerful sects, the Heavenly Path sect. Even though his bloodline was not a sovereign bloodline, he had a great Tao constitution and was no weaker than a peak sovereign bloodline. His strength also surpassed the Emperor Heaven Realm. The person in third place was called Jian Yue, and she was the sword sect's young master. She was Jian Liyue's older sister and had an extreme sword body. Her cultivation had surpassed the Emperor Heaven Realm, and she had been ranked third in the previous rankings. Zhao Fu looked at these people's names in shock. These were all experts who had surpassed the Emperor Heaven Realm and could sweep through anything in the inner domains. No one in the outer domains could stop them. The stone stele was split into 3 rankings: the Heaven rankings, Earth rankings, and Mortal rankings. The Heaven rankings that Zhao Fu had looked at before were for the oldest students of Emperor Path College, the Earth rankings were for the middle, and the Mortal rankings were for the new students. These were most likely the most powerful people in the human domain's younger generation. They were true geniuses who had transcended mortality and entered holiness. They were existences that billions of creatures looked up to, and behind each of them stood a massive faction. Zhao Fu understood that the Emperor Path College did not have any restrictions on accepting students. No matter what race or faction one was from, as long as one passed a test, one could become a student of Emperor Path College. For some reason, the various large factions were willing to send their most outstanding people to Emperor Path College. It was said that there was a secret to celestial ascension here. With Zhao Fu's current strength, he was naturally not a match for these people. The difference in strength was simply too great, and Zhao Fu understood that he was inferior. "Little brother, you're quite interesting. You're quite interesting. You're actually a projection, which is quite rare." A handsome young man in white smiled as he put his hand on Zhao Fu's shoulder. Zhao Fu frowned and turned to look at the young man beside him because he did not recognize him at all. The other party's actions were a little too enthusiastic. Moreover, this young man's strength was not weak at all and far surpassed Zhao Fu's. He was already a world realm expert, and such a powerful person would not come to chat with him for no reason. He definitely had a purpose, and Zhao Fu could not help but feel wary. Without answering the white-robed youth's question, Zhao Fu removed his hand and walked to the side. The young man was stunned for a moment before he chuckled and said, "Little brother, my name is Feng Qiun and I don't have any ill intentions. I just find you interesting and want to get to know you. Also, you're here to visit Emperor Path College, right? I'm familiar with this place and can lead the way." "What? He's Feng Qiun? He's ranked 7th on the Earth board." The people around the stone stele cried out and countless people's gazes gathered on Feng Qiun's body. They had never thought that they would personally meet an expert on the Earth board so soon. However, Zhao Fu's expression became serious. He had never thought that he would attract such a person's attention right after entering. Zhao Fu wanted to keep a low profile and not attract too much attention, so he refused and said, "No need. I'll just walk around by myself." "What? Who's this person? Even an Earth board expert is taking the initiative to lead the way for him, And he dares to refuse? Does he want to die? That's right. He offended such a person right after entering Emperor Path College. He can forget about staying in Emperor Path College in the future. He's not giving him any face at all. If it was me, I'd want to kill that boy. The surroundings were sent into an uproar. After Feng Qiun announced his name, everyone looked at Feng Qiun with worshipful gazes. They all felt incredibly honored to be able to meet such an expert, and they all felt that Zhao Fu was too arrogant and overestimated himself. Today, I'll teach you a lesson in Senior Brother Feng's place. An azure-clothed young man gave off a massive aura as he rushed out from the side and raised his hand to attack Zhao Fu. An azure-colored aura flowed out, turning into a massive azure-colored tiger that ferociously leapt at Zhao Fu. Feng Qian wanted to stop him, but it was too late. Zhao Fu did not move at all, and a massive black aura flooded out, forming a savage and domineering black dragon that rushed towards the azure tiger. The two beasts clashed, and in just an instant, the azure tiger was shattered into countless traces of azure aura, while the black dragon continued to rush towards the young man. The young man's expression fell, and an azure-colored defensive barrier appeared around his body. Boom! The black dragon gave off a massive aura as it slammed into the azure energy barrier, causing a wild gale to spread out. The azure energy barrier shattered, and the young man was sent flying. Because Zhao Fu had held back, the young man was not injured. However, the young man was not willing to give up and stood up, wanting to attack again. Feng Qiun hurriedly called out to the young man, and his expression became serious as he looked at the black aura that flowed out from Zhao Fu's body. The black aura automatically condensed into a dragon form. Only the powerful dragon race could do such a thing. Zhao Fu's aura was quite complicated, and Feng Qiun could not tell what race he was. However, in Feng Qiun's eyes, Zhao Fu was filled with mysteriousness. "Thank you for holding back." Feng Qiun lightly smiled as he cupped his hands. He understood that Zhao Fu had held back, or else the young man would have been injured. Zhao Fu calmly nodded and did not plan on staying, and he turned and walked away. The people in the surroundings felt quite shocked because they found that Zhao Fu was quite powerful. That young man was a student of Emperor Path College, and yet he had lost so easily. It seemed that he was not simple at all. Ha ha! Feng Qiun, you're quite patient. If it was me, I would have long since taught that boy a lesson. What a disgrace to the Earth rankings. That boy only has stage 9 cultivation. A well-built red-faced big man loudly laughed as he walked out. Feng Qiun slightly frowned. The big man's arrival made the situation much more complicated, and he did not get along with the big man. Zhao Fu ignored the big man's words and walked to the side. The big man's expression became cold, and a world realm might blasted towards Zhao Fu, saying, "Boy, didn't you hear what your lordship said? Even though you didn't offend your lordship doesn't like you. Kneel and apologize to your lordship." If it was before, Zhao Fu would not have been able to withstand the world realm might at all. However, Zhao Fu now had a divine bloodline, greatly reducing the might. Moreover, the big man had underestimated Zhao Fu and did not use his full strength. Chapter 1308. The big man looked quite surprised because an ordinary stage 9 cultivator would have collapsed to the ground under his might and looked at him in terror. How could Zhao Fu be so relaxed? Zhao Fu slowly turned and revealed a pair of terrifying eyes. His left eye had 7 pupils and his right eye had 6 overlapping pupils. There were also 6 gray dots, making him look like a world-destroying beast. He looked at the big man with a trace of fury, causing his hairs to stand on end, and he instinctively felt a trace of fear. This caused the big man's expression to fall, and he could not believe that a person with stage 9 cultivation could give him such a dangerous feeling. However, in the next moment, the big man felt furious. This was the first time he had felt threatened by such a low-level cultivator. This was a great humiliation, and his gaze became cold and contained a trace of killing intent as he glared at Zhao Fu and said, "Didn't you hear me when I told you to kneel?" Boom. Heaven and earth power quickly gathered as the big man exploded out with the power of a world realm expert. A might containing heaven and earth power blasted towards Zhao Fu, causing the surroundings to become incredibly heavy and filled with a cold and austere aura. Zhao Fu's body once again sank as he sensed this terrifying might. His legs became weak and his waist gradually bent as cold sweat covered his body. After all, Zhao Fu only had stage 9 cultivation, and even though he had a divine bloodline, he could not withstand the might of a world realm expert. Seeing Zhao Fu like this, the big man gave a trace of a pleased smile and said, "Fudge! A stage 9 cultivator dares to act so arrogantly in front of a world realm expert? He's simply seeking death." Everyone in the surroundings inwardly shook their heads. There was no suspense in the battle between a world realm expert and a stage 9 cultivator. It was a complete suppression. Some people felt that Zhao Fu should give in and kneel down to apologize. That way, he would be able to keep his life, or else the consequences would be dire. Some people also felt that Zhao Fu deserved it for daring to speak to Feng Qiun like that and not giving him any face. Feng Qiun was a world realm expert, but he had not made a fuss about it. However, this person was simply too arrogant. A weakling should act like a weakling. He should be humble and pitiful, begging for mercy. This person had brought all of this upon himself. As for the young man who had attacked Zhao Fu, he smiled and let out a sigh of relief. He felt that Zhao Fu deserved to be taught a good lesson and let him know the immensity of the heavens and earth. Feng Qian frowned. Even though he felt that Zhao Fu was not simple, the difference between a stage 9 cultivation and the world realm was too great, so he said, "Xiongyi, enough, don't go too far." The big man completely ignored him and did not give Feng Qian any face. After all, he was the imperial prince of an empire and was ranked 8th on the earth rankings. He was only slightly weaker than Feng Qian, so he could directly oppose Feng Qian and not give him any face. Seeing that Xiongyi ignored him and raised his chin, revealing a condescending expression, a trace of anger appeared on Feng Qian's face, and he was about to attack. Boom! A massive aura of killing intent spread out, causing the ground to crack and the air to become icy cold. Zhao Fu looked furious and finally exploded out with his nation armament's power. Zhao Fu was no longer afraid of a world realm expert because Qin now had 3 worlds. The power that his nation armament exploded out with was much more powerful than ordinary world realm experts. After exploding out with his nation armament's power, the massive might around Zhao Fu's body disappeared because it had been cancelled out by his nation armament. Under everyone's shocked gazes, Zhao Fu stretched out his hand and pointed at Xiongyi as he said coldly, "Kneel." Boom! Qin's nation armament, the 12 metal colossi, gathered the massive power of 3 worlds and infused it into Zhao Fu's body. Zhao Fu pointed out and a massive might landed on Xiongyi's body, causing his body to sink and his expression to fall. Everyone understood that Zhao Fu was the king of a kingdom, and only the king of a kingdom could use the power of a nation armament. Looking at the power that it gave off, it was at least the power of 3 worlds. Now, the situation was completely reversed. Zhao Fu was the one releasing the might, while Xiongyi was the one enduring it. He gritted his teeth and used all of his strength to resist that might. Even though Xiongyi was an imperial prince, he did not have an emperor's nation armament. In front of Qin's nation armament, he was unable to resist at all. He felt his body sink and was about to kneel. As an imperial prince, how could Xiongyi allow himself to kneel to someone else? Boom! An explosion sounded out as a blue blood-red flame appeared and boundless emperor's aura spread out. Xiongyi burned his sovereign bloodline and barely withstood the might. He looked furious as he glared at Zhao Fu and said, "Your lordship is the ferocious beast empire's imperial prince. You dare to treat your lordship like this? In the future, your lordship will slaughter your entire kingdom and leave no one alive." Zhao Fu coldly harumphed and once again pointed out with his finger, using a trace of his divine bloodline's power. A divine aura that surpassed that of an emperor flowed out, bringing with it a power that could cause the heavens and earth to cry as it blasted towards Xiongyi. Boom! Xiongyi heavily knelt on the ground, smashing out 2 imprints on the ground. Xiongyi looked quite confused. Under Zhao Fu's power, even his sovereign bloodline felt immense fear, and he did not resist at all as he knelt on the ground. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. That person had actually made an imperial prince kneel in front of him. This was an incredible humiliation, and they would definitely become mortal enemies in the future. No one could endure such humiliation, and he had angered the dignity of an empire. At the same time, they felt incredibly shocked at the power that Zhao Fu had released with that one tap of his finger. In just an instant, their bloodlines had felt immense terror, and they howled in pain. How could that person's bloodline be so terrified? Feng Qian also looked at Zhao Fu in shock, because Zhao Fu's performance far surpassed his expectations. Even with his experience, he was incredibly shocked. The young man next to him had an unsightly expression. Only now did he realize that Zhao Fu had not used much power at all before and had easily defeated him. Now, everyone fell into a deathly silence. Xiongyi looked furious as he glared at Zhao Fu, wanting to cut Zhao Fu into 1,000 pieces. "Pa!" Zhao Fu casually waved his hand and a formless slap landed on Xiongyi's face, causing the right side of his face to immediately swell up. Xiongyi furiously roared, wanting to resist Zhao Fu's might, but he was unable to do so. "Angry? You brought this upon yourself. I don't want to make trouble, so why are you forcing me?" Zhao Fu said coldly as he stared at Xiongyi. Only now did everyone understand why Zhao Fu did not show any weakness when facing a world realm expert. With such a powerful nation armament, he indeed did not need to fear a world realm expert. Chapter 1309. Suddenly, an uproar sounded out from the crowd as everyone turned and saw a group of extremely beautiful female attendants wearing silver palace dresses walking out. At the center was a cold and noble woman wearing a golden palace dress and giving off a massive might. This woman's beauty could not be described with words, and countless people felt their hearts speed up as their blood quickly flowed. They stared at this woman as if they had fallen deeply in love with her. Her appearance caused the crowd to fall silent, and it was as if the world had stopped. Her aura completely surpassed that of Zhao Fu's, because her aura surpassed the Emperor Heaven Realm and was definitely on the Heaven rankings. Feng Qian and the big man remained silent because the woman gave off a powerful aura, making it so that they couldn't help but lower their heads and submit to her aura. Just like that, amidst the silence, the crowd automatically opened up a path, and the group of female attendants slowly walked by. Facing the countless infatuated gazes, the noble woman looked calm as she walked by. Out of everyone present, only Zhao Fu was not affected by her aura, mainly because of his divine bloodline. However, Zhao Fu also automatically retreated to the side. Facing an Emperor Heaven Realm expert, even if Zhao Fu released his nation armament, he would not be able to resist much, let alone someone who had already surpassed the Emperor Heaven Realm. Everyone in the surroundings knew who she was. She was the 4th-ranked Feng Qianghua on the Heaven rankings, the Human Phoenix Empire's young empress. This meant that the next person to inherit the Human Phoenix Empire would be her, which was why she was called the Young Empress. She was also the #1 beauty from the previous imperial rankings, the Young Empress. The Human Phoenix Empire was a terrifying empire that could rival the Human Race Empire. The two of them were in the top 10 empires in the human domain, and other empires feared them. Under this terrifying power, even Zhao Fu could not help but lower his head. Not only was her power countless times greater than Zhao Fu's, but she could also crush Zhao Fu with a single finger. It was as if these people were just passing by and had no intention of interfering. The group of beautiful female attendants slowly walked past Zhao Fu with indifferent expressions, not even glancing at Zhao Fu. Within the group of female attendants, Feng Qianghua coldly walked past Zhao Fu, not putting Zhao Fu in her eyes at all. She was not interested in Zhao Fu at all, and Zhao Fu did not even dare to breathe loudly. Emperor Path College is simply too terrifying. There are all sorts of terrifying people here. It's best to be careful in the future and not be too arrogant, Zhao Fu inwardly warned himself. Roar. A dragon's roar sounded out from Zhao Fu's body. It was the dragon phoenix's roar, and Zhao Fu's body gave off golden light. Zhao Fu's expression fell, and he used all of his strength to suppress the dragon phoenix. However, after walking past Zhao Fu, Feng Qianghua stopped and her peerlessly beautiful eyes fell on Zhao Fu's body. Sensing that gaze, Zhao Fu felt incredibly nervous, and he did not hesitate to run to the side. However, in the next moment, Zhao Fu's expression froze because a massive power instantly locked down Zhao Fu's body, making it so that Zhao Fu could not move at all. Even his nation armament's power was suppressed, and he could not resist at all. "Why are you running?" A pleasant voice sounded out as Feng Qianghua calmly looked at Zhao Fu with her beautiful eyes. Zhao Fu could not help but feel nervous because she could casually kill him at any moment. He carefully replied, "It's nothing. I just want to leave." "Is that so?" Feng Qianghua asked as she turned and walked towards Zhao Fu. Seeing Feng Qianghua walk over, Zhao Fu felt quite startled and tried to struggle, but he could not break free at all. In the end, he could only sigh. Feng Qianghua came in front of Zhao Fu and pressed her hand against the air. Zhao Fu's body trembled and he lost control of it, and his body gave off a large amount of golden light. Boom! A golden ray of light gave off a massive aura as it shot into the sky. Countless traces of platinum-colored light covered the surroundings as a might descended. This massive figure had the body of a dragon and the head of a phoenix, but it had a pair of phoenix wings and a pair of phoenix claws. It was covered in platinum-colored scales and gave off an extremely noble aura. It really is a dragon phoenix. And it's a dragon phoenix of the highest grade. Feng Qianghua gave a beautiful smile, causing countless people's hearts to tremble. Looking at her, they felt as if their hearts were going to melt. The female attendants all smiled and bowed to Feng Qianghua as they said in unison, "Congratulations, Your Majesty." Now, Zhao Fu understood what was going on. It was the dragon phoenix within his body. Zhao Fu's dragon phoenix was of the highest grade, and it was incredibly attractive to kingdoms where women were monarchs. It was enough to cause countless people to fight over it, and the human Phoenix Empire was one where women reigned supreme. In that empire, it was mostly women who held power, and women were more prestigious than men. There were many women who had multiple wives and concubines, but they were all men. Feng Qianghua stretched out her hand and took off Zhao Fu's cloak. He had an extremely handsome face and a pair of terrifying eyes. He had jet black hair with a few traces of violet, and he gave off an otherworldly and saintly aura that seemed to reign above emperors. He made countless people feel that he was unreachable. "This young empress now announces that you are this young empress. Where is your faction? This young empress will immediately deliver the betrothal gifts." "Don't worry, this young empress will not mistreat you." Feng Qianghua gave a pleased smile and said words that caused countless people's jaws to drop. However, Zhao Fu was resolute and said, "Apologies. I refuse." He definitely had to refuse. As the Emperor of Qin, how could Zhao Fu humiliate himself into becoming a woman's concubine? Moreover, Zhao Fu did not want to serve a woman with so many men, no matter how beautiful the woman was or how many benefits there were. "Do you have the right to refuse?" Feng Qianghua lightly laughed, her tone containing a trace of condescension and domineeringness. Zhao Fu inwardly cursed. Indeed, he did not have any power to resist. Zhao Fu had never thought that he would be taken away to become a concubine just to take a look at Emperor Path College. It seemed that the wheel of fortune had turned, and Zhao Fu had done this before. Bring him back to this young empress courtyard. Also, send a message to Imperial Mother and tell her this good news, Feng Qianghua said as she gave a faint smile. A few female attendants walked over to Zhao Fu. Now that Zhao Fu could not move at all, they planned to carry him away. Boom! A massive power landed on Zhao Fu's body, and the power binding Zhao Fu instantly disappeared. Even though Zhao Fu did not know what was going on, he grasped this opportunity and activated his nothingness cloak, causing his body to instantly disappear. Your Majesty! The female attendants turned and called out with serious expressions. That wave of power just then definitely belonged to a higher being's power. Chapter 13:10. After Zhao Fu disappeared, he appeared in a crowded market. There were people setting up stalls on both sides of the road, and after asking around, Zhao Fu found out that this was a place for students of Emperor Path College to trade. Ordinary students would sell their gains here. As a student of Emperor Path College, the things they had were naturally not simple, and all of them were incredibly precious. Zhao Fu looked around and found many things that he was quite interested in, such as spirit liquids that could nurture high-grade plants, flight stones that could construct sky cities, and the agriculture god's great blessing that could greatly help agriculture. It was a pity that Zhao Fu was only a projection and not his true body, so he could not bring these things back to Qin City. Moreover, the things here could not be bought with gold coins. As a student of one of the 7 great colleges, who would lack gold coins? The things here could either be bought with items or with Emperor Path College's point. Emperor Path College also had a point system, which was incredibly important in Emperor Path College. Almost everything required points, and without points it would be incredibly difficult to advance. Come and take a look. If anyone can help me open this box, I'll give this agriculture goddess's divine deity to him. Everyone knows that now that the production attribute has disappeared, the agriculture goddess's divine deity can play a huge role. It's definitely a priceless treasure. A shout attracted Zhao Fu's attention, mainly because of the agriculture goddess divinity. With the current situation, the agriculture goddess divinity was incredibly important to any kingdom. Even though his projection could not bring it back, perhaps he would be able to bring such an important item back in the future, so Zhao Fu was quite interested. At the same time, even an ordinary divinity was a top-tier item, and it was said that one could obtain it by opening a box. As such, there were many people gathered there. Zhao Fu went over and saw a person trying to open a box. This box was as big as a fist and seemed to be made of wood. It had 6 sides, and each side had a black image of a ghost. This box gave off a cold and eerie aura, and it was most likely a ghost treasure. Zhao Fu could sense that this box could only be opened by someone with the 6 Paths bloodline. Zhao Fu was not in a hurry to act because the 6 Paths bloodline almost did not exist in this world. Zhao Fu had only obtained the 6 Paths demon image's blood when he had awakened the Nether Emperor Star and fused it with the 6 Paths demon image's blood. Otherwise, no one would have this bloodline. Now, Zhao Fu was confident that no one present would be able to open it. Zhao Fu was also curious as to how the person who shouted had obtained the box. The person who had shouted was a round fatty with dark skin. He looked quite honest. The first person tried to twist the box and sent his power into it before smashing it with his hand. He tried all sorts of methods to no avail. Another person went up and thought that opening the box most likely had to do with the 6-sided image, and that brute force could not open it. However, after thinking about it for a long time, he still could not figure it out. After trying a few more people, no one was able to open the box, and the fatty felt quite disappointed. It seemed that no one could open it. The people in the surroundings also felt that no one would be able to open it. No matter if they used brute force or techniques, it was useless. Some people even asked the fatty how he had obtained this thing, and the fatty did not hide anything. He said that he had obtained it from an ancient tomb and wanted to open it. Perhaps there would be some wondrous treasures inside. "Let me try." A voice suddenly rang out. Everyone turned their heads and saw a man in a cloak. Currently, not many people here wore cloaks. Most of them were people of status, so they disdained to wear cloaks unless it was necessary to do so. Even though this person looked quite mysterious, wasn't his strength a bit too weak? He only had stage 9 cultivation. How could Emperor Path College have someone with such a low cultivation? Could he really open the box? Everyone did not believe it, but they believed that this person would take the box and run. The fatty held on to a trace of hope and handed the box to Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu took the box and looked at it before sending his 6 paths power into it. Boom! A massive and cold aura instantly spread out, causing people's hairs to stand on end. Everyone in the market looked quite shocked and looked over at Zhao Fu. The box floated in the air and gave off an intense black light. A terrifying ripple spread out from it, accompanied by an intense might. The people gathered in the surroundings could not help but retreat. The box continuously trembled in the air before blooming like a flower, and a black light shot into the sky. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the sky trembled. A massive and cold aura gathered and an eerie wind blew. The surrounding temperature quickly fell, and an eerie chill spread out. Zhao Fu felt that the situation was not good. If things continued like this, who knew what would happen, so he hurriedly said to the fatty, "I've opened the box. Hurry and give me the agriculture goddess divinity." The fatty looked at the sky in shock and did not hear Zhao Fu's words at all. Zhao Fu almost wanted to steal it. Suddenly, 6 massive explosions sounded out as 6 massive yin-chi vortexes appeared in the sky, bringing with them an immense might. 6 terrifying figures giving off heaven-toppling ghostly chi slowly appeared in the sky. One had a muscular body and had 3 heads, one had a pair of wings and held a spear, one had an ugly face and a bulging stomach, one wore a long robe and looked like a human, one was an Asura and gave off killing intent, and one looked like a demon and was filled with evil. Zhao Fu felt quite startled and found that this box was used to summon the 6 paths demon images. Perhaps it could be opened using some sort of secret technique, but Zhao Fu had the 6 paths bloodline, so he directly opened it. The people in the surroundings all cried out. They had heard of the 6 paths demon images before, and today, most of them had personally seen them. The 6 paths demon images gave off massive might that covered the surroundings, causing the air to become incredibly heavy and making it difficult for people to breathe. The heaven-toppling ghostly chi caused the heavens and earth to dim, causing the world to become deathly gray. The instant that the 6 paths demon images appeared, their gazes fell on Zhao Fu's body. Zhao Fu's main body clearly remembered what he had done to the 6 paths demon images, and he definitely wanted to kill him. As such, when they saw Zhao Fu, it was as if they were looking at an enemy. Their eyes were filled with corporeal killing intent, causing the heavens and earth to become even colder. "Hurry! Give me the agriculture goddess divinity." Facing these 6 terrifying gazes, Zhao Fu did not dare to stay here. He would definitely cause trouble again, so he called out to the fatty. Chapter 13:11. After obtaining the divinity, Zhao Fu immediately turned and ran, and the fatty started to panic. As such, he did not think too much and followed Zhao Fu. Seeing that Zhao Fu was about to run, the 6 paths demon images raised their weapons and gave off boundless power as they prepared to blast towards Zhao Fu. Shing! A saber hum that seemed to cause the heavens and earth to shatter sounded out, causing the entire sky to tremble. Boundless red light shined out as a massive saber light containing world-shattering power slashed towards the Six Paths demon images. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the Six Paths demon images were slashed into countless traces of ghostly chi, which flooded out in all directions before gradually disappearing. A red-clothed elder appeared in the sky and furiously cursed, "That bastard is seeking death by summoning the Six Paths demon images in Emperor Path College." Looking at the red-clothed elder, everyone's hearts tightened. This was the law enforcement department's great elder, and his strength was close to that of a higher being. That was why he could easily deal with the Six Paths demon images. However, the Six Paths demon images were only 1,000 meters tall and were not very powerful. If the Six Paths demon images' true bodies had descended, even tens of thousands of red-clothed elders would not be a match for them. Some people did not hesitate to report, saying, "Great Elder, there's a person wearing a cloak. I don't know what he looks like, but he has a pair of terrifying eyes." He opened a wooden box and summoned the Six Paths demon images. The red-clothed elder coldly harumphed, "Find that bastard. If he dares to resist, call the law enforcement department. If you do this well, this elder will reward you with 1,000 points." "Thank you, great elder." The people in the surroundings were all delighted. 1,000 points could be exchanged for many good things, so they all chased after Zhao Fu. Luckily, Zhao Fu had run quite quickly from the start, or else he would have been caught by those people. However, now, Zhao Fu hid in an alleyway and did not dare to go out. Because of the terrifying ripples coming from here, many people's gazes were drawn over, including the people who wanted to capture Zhao Fu. Right now, Zhao Fu was not interested in going around at all and just wanted to leave Emperor Path College as soon as possible. He had never thought that he would encounter such a thing, and he could not even keep a low profile in Emperor Path College. Now, Zhao Fu naturally had to change his appearance. He could no longer wear his cloak, so Zhao Fu used his ghostly chi to turn his purple-black hair into gray-white. He also hid his terrifying eyes and put on a mask. However, there was another person beside Zhao Fu, and that was the fatty from before. Zhao Fu was not worried that he would say anything, because he was the mastermind of what happened just now. If Zhao Fu was caught, he would also be severely punished. Zhao Fu had no intention of befriending the fatty, but the fatty was very interested in Zhao Fu. He was mainly curious about how Zhao Fu could open the box. Then, he introduced himself. "Brother, my name is Lin Duping. It's an honor to meet you." Zhao Fu's reaction was quite cold, and he nodded before walking onto the street while no one was paying attention, wanting to leave Emperor Path College. However, Lin Duping still followed him, causing Zhao Fu to feel quite displeased and call out, "Why are you following me?" Lin Duping laughed and said, "I just want to know how you can open that box because I have quite a few of those boxes at home." Hearing this, Zhao Fu felt quite surprised. However, how could Zhao Fu tell him that he had the Six Paths bloodline? He only replied, "I don't know either, I just casually tried and opened it." Lin Duping evidently did not believe him and clung on to Zhao Fu as he said, "Brother, don't worry. As long as you tell me how to open it, I won't mistreat you." Seeing that Lin Duping was clinging on to him, Zhao Fu wanted to find an opportunity to get rid of him. However, a group of women rushed over, causing Zhao Fu to become more well-behaved. Those women wore silver dresses and were Feng Qianghua's female attendants. Even though he did not know how he had escaped last time, if he was caught by them again, he would have no chance of escaping. After the female attendants left, Zhao Fu wanted to leave, but a few more groups of people ferociously rushed over. As such, Zhao Fu once again hid within the crowd, not daring to reveal any of his aura. He understood that these people were coming for him. The people next to him felt quite strange and asked, "What's going on? What are these people trying to do by acting so menacingly?" Another person said in surprise, "Don't you know? Now, news has spread throughout Emperor Path College that everyone is looking for a cloaked man with terrifying eyes, Zhao Fu said with a smile. The person asking felt even more confused. Why are there so many people looking for that man? Seeing that he really did not know, the other person explained in detail. When that person entered Emperor Path College, he caused a huge commotion, and even the golden dragon pillar at the entrance was incredibly afraid. News of this spread to the Dragonblood Empire, which has good relations with the dragon race, and they want to see that person. The next group is from the Dragonblood Empire. Many people are interested, so they are also looking for him. Moreover, that person is not a student of Emperor Path College and is just here to visit. Emperor Path College has no right to interfere. The next group is from the Ferocious Beast Empire. I heard that that person made the Ferocious Beast Empire's Imperial Prince, who is ranked 8th on the Earth rankings, kneel in front of everyone and even slapped him. Such humiliation has angered the Ferocious Beast Empire, so they naturally won't let him off. Hearing this, the person asking the question said in disbelief, "No way. That person is so powerful, and Xiong Yi is ranked 8th on the Earth rankings. He also has a sovereign bloodline. Could that person really make him kneel?" The person nodded and explained, "That person used his nation armament's power." Hearing this, the person understood and smiled as he said, "That Xiong Yi was too arrogant and acted in a barbaric and unreasonable manner. It's a pity that I wasn't there. I wanted to see how angry Xiong Yi was." "That's right. What about some other people? Why are they looking for him?" "This is especially so when we saw the female attendant of our Emperor Path College's #1 beauty looking for him." Hearing this, the person who had asked the question laughed and said, "Some people are looking for him because he released the 6 Paths demon images in the trade market. I heard that there are also 1,000 points as a reward." As for the female attendant of our Emperor Path College's #1 beauty looking for him, it's because our Emperor Path College's #1 beauty, Feng Qianghua, wants that man to be her imperial concubine. Not an ordinary imperial concubine but an imperial concubine, which is equivalent to an empress. No way. The person who had asked the question was dumbfounded and could not believe this. With Feng Qianghua's personality, she would not even take a liking to the Emperor Path College's #1 beauty, so how could she take a liking to a man? It's true. At first, I didn't believe it either, but many people saw it with their own eyes. What's more, it was Feng Qianghua who announced it in front of everyone. I heard that that person has the highest grade dragon phoenix and is the best candidate to be an imperial concubine, another person explained. Chapter 13:12. That's right. That man ran away, which was why Feng Qianghua ordered her female attendants to capture that man. To be honest, that man was so stupid. Feng Qianghua is the #1 beauty in the human domain, and she's already a young empress. In the future, she'll definitely control the human wind empire. Not only is she peerlessly beautiful, but she also has extraordinary talent and wields immense power. Countless people dream of having her, but that man actually refused. It's simply too infuriating, another person said in a sour tone. The person who had asked the question said in a jealous tone, "It's so infuriating. If only I had this opportunity. As long as I could have her, I'd do anything. In fact, I'd even be willing to accept her having other concubines." The other person nodded in agreement. This was all because Feng Qianghua was simply too beautiful, and she was the future legatee of an empire. That empire was one of the strongest in the human domain. Feng Qianghua was the #1 beauty in Emperor Path College, and with her suffocating beauty, countless men and women had fallen madly in love with her. With a single word from her, many people would die for her. However, hearing her personally announce that a man was going to be her imperial concubine, countless people felt as if the world was collapsing, and their hearts felt as if they were being torn apart. Brother! They seem to be talking about you, Lin Dapeng said in a small voice, looking incredibly shocked as he looked at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu said resolutely, "No, I'm not. You've got the wrong person." Lin Dapeng laughed. "Then I'll yell a few times and see if those people find out who you are." Zhao Fu glared at him and said, "So you want me to silence you?" Lin Dapeng smiled confidently as he said, "Brother, I'm sure you don't want to make a big deal out of this, right? As long as you tell me how to open the box, I can take you out of Emperor Path College. Also, let me remind you that Emperor Path College is very big, so be careful not to get lost." Zhao Fu sighed and found that he indeed did not know where he was. He said somewhat helplessly, "I have that bloodline, which is why I can open that box. That box can only summon the 6 paths demon images." "What kind of bloodline is that?" Lin Dapeng asked curiously. Zhao Fu's right eye, which had turned into a normal human eye, now reverted to his normal eye. The 6 gray dots spun quickly, and the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation spread out like a gray vortex. All the hairs on Lin Dapeng's body stood on end as a huge and cold aura enveloped his body. He felt as if his soul was about to be sucked into Zhao Fu's eyes. "This is the bloodline. It is impossible for you to have it," Zhao Fu said calmly. His right eye returned to that of a normal person. Lin Dapeng, on the other hand, had a look of shock on his face. "That is the 6 Daos. Samsara. Bloodline?" Zhao Fu snorted, admitting it. Lin Dapeng continued to ask in shock, "Just who are you? How can you have the legendary sovereign bloodline of the Yin world?" Zhao Fu did not reply and said, "Now, fulfill your promise and take me away from Emperor Path College." Lin Dapeng thought about it and nodded as he said, "Come with me then. Also, are you planning on participating in Emperor Path College's examination next year and becoming a student of Emperor Path College?" As Zhao Fu followed Lin Dapeng, he lightly nodded. A smile appeared on Lin Dapeng's face, and his tone became even more courteous as he said, "Brother, please take care of me in the future. Hurry up and take me away from Emperor Path College. I don't want to be captured by those people," Zhao Fu said hurriedly to Lin Dapeng. Only then did Lin Dapeng come back to his senses. Zhao Fu was being chased by a few groups of people, so he nodded and quickly brought Zhao Fu away. However, before they had taken a few steps, they were once again stopped by a flirtatious and peerlessly beautiful woman. It was the 10,000 Desire Palace's Xiang Qianqian. "Good man. Do you know how long I've been looking for you?" Xiang Qianqian said with a trace of bitterness in her eyes as she looked at Zhao Fu. Looking at this flirtatious and seductive woman, Lin Dapeng instinctively stared with wide eyes and gulped. Only then did he realize that this was Zhao Fu's woman and immediately retreated to the side. However, Zhao Fu frowned and said to Lin Dapeng, "I don't know this woman. Don't worry about her and take me away." Lin Dapeng felt quite startled and looked at Xiang Qianqian. Xiang Qianqian angrily said, "You heartless man, we clearly confirmed that you wanted me and I wanted you. It took me so much effort to send my husband away to find you." Lin Dapeng felt quite dumbfounded. Why was this flirtatious woman a married woman? Their relationship seemed so complicated. Zhao Fu was expressionless and knew that she was a big problem. He said coldly, "You're mistaken. I'm not interested in you at all." "Is that so?" Xiang Qianqian was quite displeased with Zhao Fu's attitude and leapt into Zhao Fu's embrace. The 6 desires demonic qi within Zhao Fu's body went out of control, causing Zhao Fu to hug Xiang Qianqian and do all sorts of things. Xiang Qianqian tightly stuck to Zhao Fu, looking quite pleased. Sensing a certain part of Zhao Fu's body, she happily panted as she said, "All right, scoundrel, I'm not angry. Scoundrel, I'm not angry. Hurry up and fuck me." Seeing such an erotic scene, Lin Dapeng felt quite embarrassed and prepared to leave. Zhao Fu did not know why Xiang Qianqian had attracted him like this, but more accurately speaking, She had attracted the Six Desires' demonic art and caused it to go out of control. Zhao Fu bit the tip of his tongue, and the intense pain caused Zhao Fu to wake up, and he prepared to push Xiang Qianqian away. Boom! A massive aura descended as the sky was covered by a golden light. There seemed to be countless phoenixes flying about, and a figure appeared in front of everyone. It was Feng Qianghua. Seeing this scene, Feng Qianghua's peerlessly beautiful face became cold, and she stretched out a finger. At that moment, Zhao Fu pushed Xiang Qianqian away, and a massive force sent Zhao Fu flying back. He crashed to the ground and coughed up a large mouthful of blood. Xiang Qianqian felt incredibly touched, and she thought that Zhao Fu had pushed her away in a moment of danger. "You slut, you're so fickle, and yet you dare to betray this young empress and be intimate with another woman? Do you know that you deserve to die 10,000 times? A bone-chilling voice sounded out as Feng Qianghua coldly looked at Zhao Fu. Feng Qianghua was like a man who had seen his wife cheating on someone else. Even though Zhao Fu was not married to her, she had set her sights on Zhao Fu and declared him to be her imperial concubine. Lin Dapeng and Xiang Qianqian's faces became pale because they could sense Feng Qianghua's aura. She was an existence that surpassed the Emperor Heaven Realm and could casually kill them. Zhao Fu fell to the ground, feeling furious. He glared at Feng Qianghua and cursed, "What's wrong with you, you crazy woman? Who's yours? This imperial concubine has countless beauties. I don't fancy you at all. Trash." You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.